This stream is sponsored by IGK TAS, telemetry analysis system powered by IGK. Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to TTML F1. We are here, of course, for Season 6. It is round 3 of the championship as we take in the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix from the circuit of Imola. My name is James Hay, going to be taking to the stream, as always, on a Sunday night. And joining me in the comment box, it wouldn't be a Sunday without him, it is Mr. Luke Etheridge. Luke, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Good evening, James. Good evening to everyone that is watching at home. Really looking forward to tonight's race. I'm so glad that we finally got Imola on the F1 game as a proper circuit since Codemasters took over. Of course, they had it when they added some classic tracks in 2013. And we've got a sprint race, which should make it even more exciting.
We have got a sprint race that should make it even more exciting. Indeed, the drivers are now readying up, it seems, within the lobby. But as you may be aware, and as you might have seen on social media in the past few hours, we sadly lost an F1 legend, and that was, of course, Sir Frank Williams. And Sir Frank Williams was a pioneer of Formula One. He built up the Williams team from scratch in the late 1960s and dominated the sport for the next 2 decades. And under his tenureship, alongside his loving family, Williams were guided to 7 Drivers' World Championships, along with 9 Constructors' Championships. Sir Frank overcame the most difficult of challenges in life, including his car crash in 1986, to make his name as an F1 legend, and his name will forever be etched in the history of the sport. Sir Frank Williams, a true icon and pioneer. And with that, let's have a look then at the driver standings coming, of course, in tonight. Jensen, of course, currently dominating the championship lead. And looking, of course, at what happened last week, it was very interesting to see, of course, Jensen take that win. Unfortunate, though, for Tom Robbo, who obviously crashed in the castle section.
Yeah, it was all looking really good for Tom Robbo, having a fantastic performance. Made a slight mistake in the castle section. You might remember, if you were with us last week, he did the entire last lap, basically with no front wing. Still managed to come home, though, in 5th place. It was a good performance from Connor as well. He qualified on pole, got the fastest lap. Slight mistake of tyre choice under the safety car, though, meant he had plenty of battling to do, but managed to fight his way up into 2nd.
He did manage to fight his way up into 2nd, of course. And looking through the standings, I didn't have them up on my screen, so that's why I was trying to pause a little bit. Jensen Allen's up 45.5 points for his name. Connor in 2nd on 29.5. Tom Robbo in 3rd on 27.5. Even with that disaster of a final lap, he is still in 3rd position. Zerma in 4th on 26.5. Nance Links in 5th on 20. Noah and Funky Chicken are tied for 6th on 17. Fleddy in 8th on 14.5. Boss Wanted in 9th on 14. And Perpetuum in 10th on 12. Then we've got F1 Lover, Denzel, Rudy, Dutch Missile, and Black Box round off the top 15. Bunty, Isu, Pat, all rounding up the point scorers. Bunty and Isu, Pat, Stinson, and Harry Banks haven't scored any points so far. Jensen, of course, carrying a 16-point advantage into tonight. Connor, though, took a very good fight from last week, and we even thought in Baku that he was going to try and take the win. Unfortunately not, but he is still in 2nd in the championship. And with Tom Robbo and Zerdema biting down on his wing, then the Ferrari has got to try and outscore Jensen tonight.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think at the start of the season, I think you thought Connor was probably going to be the man to beat. I thought it'd be Jensen, and they are the top 2 in the championship at the moment. But last time, Connor definitely looked to have the pace. First race of the season, he was a bit off in Portimao. I know there was a few extenuating circumstances that made it a bit difficult for everyone, hence why half points were awarded. But yeah, those two really looking good and really looking, well, certainly last time out, looking exceptionally quick. Tom Robbo as well, he's 3rd in the championship. If it wasn't for that mistake, I think very possibly he might have even been leading the championship after the last time out. So he's definitely one to watch out for, and we'll be hoping to get his first win of the season tonight.
He will be indeed. We have got a couple of seconds to go until we get, of course, in towards qualifying at Imola. The Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari, of course, that is now known. One-shot qualifying and that 16-lap race, of course, in the change format for tonight. It is the sprint race first, but one-shot qualifying to follow, which will decide the grid, basically, for the sprint qualifying, and then the sprint qualifying will decide, of course, the pole position and the rest of the positions, of course, for the actual race, which will take place after that. And if it's anything like F2 around here, we're going to be in for an absolute treat. And are we going to see a dry qualifying session in terms of one shot and then possibly full wet conditions and intermediates like we did at F2? You'll have to find out.
Yeah, you'll have to find out. We'll have to wait and see. You can just see what the points are for the sprint race on your screen now. 10 for the winner, 8, 6, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and a point for the fastest lap. But of course, this will determine the grid for the actual race like it does in F1. Unlike F1, because there's no way of doing it on this game, there is no park firming conditions between the sprint race and the actual race. So if it is going to, let's say it's going to rain in sprint qualifying and rain in the one shot, even though it is actually beautiful sunshine, I can tell you at the moment, you could change your setup ever so slightly. So it will be interesting to see what the drivers go for. And unlike normally, obviously in the main race, everyone will get a fresh set of tyres.
Yeah, definitely so. And I think, honestly, if it's anything like F2, we're going to see a lot of overtaking as well. We saw Neymar absolutely rip through the field in the sprint qualifying, finishing, I think, 7th in the end and nearly getting into the top 5 because of that intermediate Commentators. And, of course, he went on in sprint qualifying. However, one-shot qualifying about to begin. We're going to ride on board with Tom Robbo, who, of course, was our sacrifice driver, of course, crashing in the castle section with 2 laps to go in Baku, and he's now starting up on this lap on the run down in towards Tamburello at turns 2 and turn 3. Petcham out on top of the minute, Rudy in second, but now in towards Tamburello we go. The first technical corner out on track, catches the curve very nicely indeed. He seems already retired from the session. Has now come through in towards the Villeneuve chicane. Quite a few drivers actually, including Tom Robbo, on a set of medium compound tyres, which is quite interesting. And he runs wide, coming through the Villeneuve chicane, now into Tulsa corner at the left-hander, through the end of the first sector, into around 6th or 7th position at this stage of the race. But Petcham out on top, Fleddy second, Rudy in third, as we now come up in towards Piratella. I think I said that was the race. It is qualifying, of course, still. One-shot qualifying here in Imola, as we now run down in towards the Acqua Minerale section. Beautifully profiled surface this. In terms of Acqua Minerale, and Tom Robbo has spun, coming around Acqua Minerale, spins the car. Daniel is also invalid on his lap, but one above Perpetuum, he hops over the curb on into Variante Alta. Rudy is there out on top, however, and Perpetuum might have a fight to try and bring Fleddy Connor not too far behind as well. And these guys only separate, I would say, by about 1/10 of a second as Perpetuum now comes in towards Ravazza corner through 17, through 18, and then through the right-handed kink of turn 19. Perpetuum looks like he's going to get pole position on the run to the line for the German, and it's a 1:14.5 from Fleddy in the end that gets pole position. Noah second, Connor in third, Perpetuum only fourth with a 1:14.6. But quite a few drivers getting a lot of invalidations.
Yeah, I think Rudy actually invalidated through Ravazza. He was looking very close with Perpetuum. Who knows whether he'd have took pole position. Tom Robbo absolutely gutted that mistake through the second part of Acqua Minerale. It is a very difficult corner indeed. He was looking pretty good on that medium strategy. 25% racers, the soft tyres last quite long, so we do see quite often before in TTML Sim last season with 25% races, you start on the mediums, don't stay on them for long, and go on the soft. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. Black Box and Jensen getting into the top 10 on those yellow wall tyres, though.
Yeah, I think those obviously going on that yellow wall tyre, thinking it could be dry within the race. And I've just seen the weather, actually, for the race. It is Fleddy out on top now with second, Connor in third. Petcham, Luca, Bunty up in 6th position. Good qualifying from him. Boss Wanted, Black Box, Jensen, and Funky Chicken down in the top 10. Zernima, Lynx, Nuth, Tom Robbo, filling out the 14 drivers. Rudy, Cholkers, Daniel, Isu, and the rest, of course, are filling out the rest of the grid. Let's have a look then at the track map in question at Imola. A 4.9 kilometre circuit, a beautiful circuit, of course, with the 19 turns. The one DRS zone, of course, running down in towards the Tamburello chicane at turns 2 and turn 3. Quite a lot of elevation change, you can probably tell, around this old-fashioned circuit. The first time, of course, since 2006, real-life F1 comes here. And, in fact, the first time on the game since 2013.
Yeah, 2013, of course, had the Variante Bassa chicane that led them onto the start-finish straight, which was a mainstay when this track was in Formula 1, did change slightly over the years. After it lost Formula 1 in 2006, they decided to remove that chicane to aid overtaking slightly for cars. How Michael Schumacher wished he'd have done it the couple of years before, and he might have got 92 victories rather than 91 when he spent a lot of the 2005 race stuck behind the back of Fernando Alonso's car. Hopefully, though, we'll get plenty of overtaking around here. That one DRS zone is going to be the best overtaking opportunity.
It definitely will. Predict the pit stop strategy coming up for the sprint race, or for sprint qualifying. Lap 8 to 13 on both a set of mediums and a set of hard compound tyres. If anybody decided to go onto hard compound tyres, they'll honestly be laughing at themselves, I think, to be honest. In terms of this 25% race, of course, Fleddy out on top, Noah second, Connor in third. Fleddy actually was one of the drivers that actually wished me a happy birthday. And if he didn't know, yes, it is my birthday tonight. And I'm commentating around Imola, and I couldn't be thinking of anything else better to do with my Sunday night. Of course, celebrating my, unfortunately, 24th birthday. But Fleddy out on top, Noah second, Connor in third. My expectation, of course, with it being my birthday, is hopefully a clean race and probably race of the season.
Yeah, hopefully it should be really interesting. A reminder: this sets the grid for the actual 32-lap race that we are going to get later on. Most of the drivers outside the top 10 going for a set of mediums. The odd one out is Daniel, down in 17th. He's deciding he's going to have to go hard early on and get a few laps in on those soft tyres and try to get some overtakes done. Be interested to see how some of the drivers could come back. Rudy especially was looking very quick on that one-shot qualifying, just made a mistake, invalidated his lap, so he's down in 15th. Don't be surprised to see him recovering towards the front.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, Fleddy out on top, Noah second, Connor third. It is going to be quite interesting. I mean, Perpetuum, they're in fourth position. The German looks an absolute godsend, I think, to try and get a very good result. He has been underneath the expectations, I think, of quite a few people so far this season. Of course, he's not defending TTML champion, but is a previous TTML F1 champion, and that was, of course, before Harry Banks took it. And Harry Banks, I think, is going to be saying goodbye to F1 because this is his third race in a row that he has not attended this season. I think that is due to work commitments, if I'm not mistaken. But the cars are now joining on the grid. Luke, I'm going to come across to you. Who's your top three?
I am going to go for Black Box, Jensen, and Connor.
Interesting. We'll have to see, of course, how this race is going to unfold. Hopefully the task system will work as we go into the main 50% race. Just a warning, it might not. But Fleddy out on top, Noah in second, Connor in third. The grid is now set here in Imola for what is going to be 16 laps of sprint qualifying. And hopefully everyone is going to get underway. And it looks like the 5 red lights are now beginning to come on very quickly indeed. 5 red lights are on here in Imola. And it's lights out and away we go. And actually, Connor doesn't get a jump. Connor gets a drive-through to jump start. He actually didn't move off the grid there. So I'm not sure if that'll be looked into. But Fleddy leads the run down in towards Tamburello. Fetchman in behind. Bunty's over to fourth. And there's a massive crash further down the field. Funky Chicken and Isu have been caught up in a collision. And it's already the sprint race coming back to haunt them. Fleddy out on top. Noah in second. Fetchman third. As we now run down into the field left chicane, I think Jensen has been caught up in a slight incident coming out of Tamburello. But Fleddy leads the way. 0.3 of a second from Noah in second. And they've already pulled 0.7 ahead of Perpetuum now in third position. Tom Robble's already up into ninth. Isu is fighting in 13th position. Funky Chicken, however, already out the race, coming down towards Tamburello. And it is a very tight track to try and go 3 wide at, and I think that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, of course, as the track bends ever so slightly through Tamburello. You saw Bottas and George Russell have that massive accident this year, and that can catch the drivers out ever so slightly. We had another yellow flag there, not quite sure what that's for. It looks like Isu's having a bit of problems further back, and Daniel trying to make some moves up the order. Boss Wanted's had an awful start as well. He's gone down 10 positions, biggest winner in the first few laps. Tom Robbo up 5 places. Black Box has gained 1 ever so slightly, but yeah, really interesting start to the race. Such a shame about that jump start penalty for Connor as Tom Robbo sends one, I think, there on Zoidema. He's trying to get some moves done as quickly as possible. Fleddy, unsurprisingly, with the fastest lap of the race. It's such a shame for Connor that he's got to serve that drive-through penalty because there's nothing the stewards can do about it.
It isn't, and to be honest, Connor actually didn't start on time with the lights as everyone else, and that's why he picked up that drive-through penalty, possibly a glitch with the code in the game. Not, however, on the back of Zerdema, and actually that was a crucial move for Tom Robbo. Zerdema's 4th in the championship, Tom Robbo is 3rd in the championship, so Tom Robbo's got through on his nearest title rival, and he's going to get through on Black Box as well, as Black Box makes a mistake into the gravel coming through the Villeneuve chicane. Tom Robbo now through, and he's into 6th position. Connor has left the session, might be down to connection issues, but Fleddy leads the way. 0.6 of a second the gap currently from Noah in second, Perpetuum in third. Bunty there in 4th position, having his best race of the season so far. Luca in 5th, Tom Robbo in 6th, and of course we have got that 50% race to come after this. Daniel, by the way, is right on the back of Isu. Isu seems to have struggled so far. Bunty is another one that seems to have struggled, and Isu literally like a rolling roadblock coming out of coming in towards Variante Alta, just out of back with Minerale, and Daniel on that set of soft compound and tyres cannot find a way through, pretty much shoving Isu, and Isu's actually coming across on him. Daniel says, you know what, I'm going to have to try and find this around the outside. In towards Ravazza we go. He's on the outside line. Isu will not give this up lightly, and he's forced him nearly off into the gravel, and Daniel on the back of him still is spun around by Isu, and Isu just controlling the car onto the outside curb. puts in front of Daniel, and Daniel spins, I think, by himself. As a result, in behind, though, Rudy and Boss Wanted are trying to have a go. Down in towards turns 2 and 3, of course, at Tamburello, and Rudy is forced off track by Isu, and Isu now is still in 12th position, and Rudy has to cut across the grab. Honestly, very poor driving so far from Isu, as Jensen has passed Nuff.
Yeah, it's all kicking off here. He's just driving the widest Red Bull I've ever seen. He's surely got to have some damage on that car because, like you said, he's a rolling roadblock. At this moment in time, no one can really somehow get ahead of him. A few of his moves have been questionable. I think definitely, apart from what he did coming out of Avanza, I don't think I've seen too bad from him, but that one was probably just putting it a bit far. But as we all know in Formula 1 now, you can put people as far off the track as much as you possibly want. Although in Austria, that wasn't the case. But you can just see there, Isu understeering so much for Aqua Minerale. He's going to move back across again. Connor rejoins the session. Hopefully that shouldn't cause any issues. But yeah, for Boss Wanted, he needs to get past as soon as possible. Already picking up a 3-second time penalty and then making a big mistake coming out of that corner. And if you want to find out more about your drivers, use !mark help in the chat, courtesy of the task system, as that is now Stinson down the inside at Ravazza and off into the gravel.
He is off into the gravel. He absolutely sent it, missed his braking point completely, and nearly took Isu with him. Tom Robbo, however, is through on Bunty, and Jensen is now through on Zerdum. It's crucial for Jensen to get ahead of Zerdum, of course. Top 7, get the points here in the sprint qualifying, and it's Fleddy still out on top. Fleddy seems to be struggling, though. 0.5 of a second the gap. It just glitches the timing slightly, but Fleddy was 0.5 of a second ahead. Perpetuum was only less than a second off Fleddy as well, so he's right in the mix. Lucas not too far off the lead either, about 1.5, 2 seconds in behind. But Fleddy leading the way, Noah in second, Perpetuum in third. Boltas is doing a good job so far. Fleddy there in the lead of the race, though. Noah in second, Perpetuum in third. Further down the field, Bunty obviously lost that move to Tom Robbo. Are we already seeing the mediums becoming quicker than the sort of softs?
I'd be surprised if it happens round about now, given the fact that, of course, we are in the 25% race and it is not exactly double the tyre wear of a 50%. I'd love to know the reasons behind that. It just isn't. I think we'll see the soft tyres probably go around about 6 or 7 laps, and then the mediums obviously slightly longer than that. So I think we'd see the leaders probably coming round about lap 6, and then there's those going from mediums to soft, lap 9 or lap 10. But we are seeing quite a few penalties. Rudy got one. He might be able to get a warning removed, as I think he was shoved off track by Isu, and he then decided to repay the favour next time around, as that is black box into the pits on the mediums. Maybe it's going to be one of them where we see the medium runners coming in extremely early.
It is, and he's going to go into a set of soft compound tyres, so that is a good decision, I think, from Black Box. No front wing change either on the car, so the Aston Martin's out of the pit lane. He's going to rejoin, I think, probably ahead of Connor, if I'm not mistaken, as he's coming toward, well, halfway down the pit lane at the stage. Connor is going to probably close, and actually Connor could be the one that's actually ahead of Black Box. But this is interesting. Goes in on that set of soft compound tyre. He is going to be ahead of Connor. Connor just comes into the background of shot, but Black Box is going to be through, and he is going to be ahead of Connor, which is crucial for him. IFR ahead of NSX, and might be seeing that battle before, I wonder. Connor on the back of Black Box, still having a bit of a fight. Connor's all sideways, actually coming out of the Tamburello chicane. They're in 17th position, but Fleddy leading the way. Noah in second. Perpetuum looks like he's got a lot of pace now. He's 5 tenths behind on Noah. Connor's left the session again, which is unfortunate. I think connection issues probably plaguing him. But Perpetuum, on the back of Noah, he's probably looking quickest out of the top 3 at this stage.
Yeah, it's just when do you decide to come into the pits? Again, if the soft tyres look like they can do half the race, you don't want to be coming in just yet. The mediums clearly, well, not in the hands of Black Box, doing as well as he would have expected, as Tom Robbo into the pits as well, and Jensen. So scrap what I said about seeing pit stops around about lap 9 for the mediums. They're coming in now, and I think that means a lot of the soft runners probably going to go until about lap 8, lap 9 before they come into the pits, although Boss Wanted is in as well. But soft tyres on for all those cars. It's getting pretty interesting. I think Perpetuum's made a slight mistake somewhere, as we've had a spinner, and I think that might be Daniel.
It is Daniel coming through Aqua Minerale, just at the bottom of the track, coming through on the opposite side. And there's another spinner as well. Cholkers has gone off, coming through Tamburello, which rejoined track safely. Luckily, I don't think he's got any damage. Just coming into shot. Yeah, he's got no damage at all. EC, by the way, is on the back of Rudy, down into the inside line through Tulsa. Doesn't get the move done, so Rudy stays ahead of EC. EC's going to try and use up the DRS, though. And Rudy just completely backs off and is stopped on track, which is very strange. Not sure what's happening, unless he had contact with Cholkers, possibly. And I think that's exactly what happened. He's gone going again. So Rudy there in 9th position. Must have had contact with Cholkers down in towards Tamburello, which is why Cholkers was off. And Cholkers now through, and he's into P8. And I think, honestly, if there was contact there, good sportsmanship shown by Rudy.
Yeah, fair play from Moody for that one. I think a lot of drivers wouldn't have done that. As first one of the leaders to come into the pits then, it is Noah in off his set of soft tyres. He's going for the mediums. Honestly, I don't know what to call this strategy anymore. We're seeing all sorts of things. It's not really making a lot of sense at the moment when the drivers are coming in, but they're all clearly not enjoying that first set of tyres and wanting to get rid of them as soon as possible. So Noah into the pits, Luca coming in as well, Bunty we've seen in. A lot of these will be going onto a set of the medium tyres, but Fleddy and Perpetuum still staying out. We'll get up on screen who has yet to come into the pits. It is your top three drivers and Connor, but he has obviously left the session. Very intriguing race at this moment in time. Will Noah gain much on the undercut there on Fleddy, who surely now he's going to have to respond and pit this lap?
Tom Rubble's undercut Luca as well. Tom Rubble's soon he's into P5. Luca there in P6. He outgunned him down and towards Tamburello on the overspeed. And Tom Rubble now has got a good chance of possibly winning this race. He's only 2.3 seconds ahead of Noah. Noah, I think, because of both of them in IFR, he'll probably move out the way for his teammate. And Tom Rubble there in 5th position is pretty much going to be net leader of this race because Fleddy and Perpetuum have gone one extra lap. Are they going to come into the pit lane this lap around? You would like to imagine so. Fleddy leading the way, Perpetuum in second, leader is in. Perpetuum is going to be coming in as well, so both of them are in from the lead. Bunty has picked up a 3-second penalty as well. Very shocked to see, actually. 18 drivers still going in the sprint qualifying, which is very good to see. Fleddy now going to a set of mediums. Perpetuum will go into a set of mediums. This now opens up, basically, for Tom Rubble and a set of softs to probably dominate this race.
Yeah, we'll have to see where Noah comes out. It's an exceptionally long pit loss here at Imola. You are talking up, well, towards 30 seconds here, so I think Noah could well end up taking the lead of this race here. It's going to be pretty close on the exit of the pit lane. You've seen Isu has gone through. Here comes Noah, and you're just going to see the two cars on the right-hand side. He's well ahead of Perpetuum, but Fleddy has just managed to stay ahead, so it is still Fleddy in the net lead. Then Noah jumps Perpetuum in the pit stops, and now Tom Robbo and Perpetuum going side by side through Tom Hello, and Tom's made the move work.
What a move by Tom Robbo on the overspeed again. Perpetuum defended the inside line. Nothing wrong with that at all. Tom Robbo's just clean sailed him around the outside, coming through Tamburello. Lovely move that by the Liverpudlian. And he's now through and he's into P4. Noah there in P3. Fleddy's there in P2. Fleddy's only up the road from Noah as well. The timings have glitched slightly, but I would make that gap less than a second. About 8/10 I would say, down in towards Aqua Minerale. Fleddy leading the way. Noah in second. Tom Robbo's got to now rely on his tyres to come into play because eventually the mediums will become the quicker tyre. Albeit in a 25% race, it might be negated somewhat, but mediums are better than softs around here, and that is a hard-proven fact as Tom Robbo trying to catch the back of Noah. Noah, however, on the back of Fleddy. Is he going to get the move done this lap around? You'd like to think so.
Yeah, I think he might just, well, it's going to be pretty close, I think, coming into Tamburello. DRS does seem pretty powerful around here. Isu comes into the pit, so the battle for the net lead becomes the battle for the actual lead of the race. And here comes Noah. Fleddy, he's not really got a hope in hell at this moment in time of holding on to that position. And there we go, nice and simple for Noah. Jensen all over the back of Perpetuum as well, and he's got his way through. He dropped a few places at the start of this race, but it's looking pretty good for Jensen and Tom Robbo at this moment in time. They've been big scorers in the two races so far. Looks like they're going to pick up the major spoils in the sprint.
Yeah, and of course, remember that this Fleddy picks up a 3-second penalty coming out of the real nerve chicane. He ran wide coming through turn 6 there. Fleddy now picking up that 3-second penalty, brings Tom Robbo into his slipstream as well as Jensen and Perpetuum, in fact. But Noah leading the way. Honestly, if these guys on that set of soft compounded tyre have to get those tyres working, they've got to get it working now because the mediums are probably going to be the better tyre towards the end of the race. And I mean, looking behind, there's drivers like Jensen, obviously struggling in the early stage of the race, now up to 4th position. He's doing a phenomenal job. Can he complete a 3 out of 3 win? And of course, all of these guys are fighting for that pole position, of course, that is going to determine the 50% race that is going to come shortly after. I think Lynx, by the way, has just done a move down in towards Variante Alta, the top of the hill through 15, gets the move done on Zerma, and he is now through and he's into 10th position. So Lynx making really good ground like a cougar on the back of Zerma, as now Fleddy on the back of Noah is going to get the race lead, I think. Fleddy to the outside line. Noah doesn't want to defend, and Fleddy is back through into the lead of the race. But look at this, charging Tom Robbo in behind.
Yeah, where's he going to get the moves done, though? He's got the grip at the moment, but third man in a DRS train, it's always pretty difficult. So he's got to be a bit smart, I think, here. Maybe take a different line through Villeneuve, get a better exit, and see if you can get down the inside into Tozer. might just work. Down the inside, Noah's going to try and hang it off all the way around the outside, but not a lot he's going to be able to do on traction there, and that is Tom Robbo up into second place, and with the penalty of Fleddy, the effective lead in this sprint race. Absolutely brilliantly done by Tom Robbo. He knew getting it done on the DRS was going to be pretty difficult on 2 cars ahead of you, so had to think about somewhere else, took a better line through Villeneuve, and gets that position. I don't think there's a lot Fleddy's going to be able to do to stop him coming into Tamburello.
Well, this is Tom Robbo back at his best. He was driving so well in Baku, and now, putting that behind him, he is driving like a man that means business. And honestly, Jensen also means business. He's there in 4th position. Tom Robbo, though, on the back of Rabata, I can safely say this move is already done, down in towards Tamburello, unless Fleddy gets a little bit of a better exit coming out of Rabata. But look at this, the slipstream is just so powerful. Tom Robbo is going to get the lead of the race. There's no one going to get second. Look at the double toe as well and behind. Don't think he's going to catch Fleddy. Tom Robbo, though, into the lead of the race. Fleddy there in second, Noah in third, and now actually that drops Fleddy back behind Petcham possibly. But he's now within that DRS train, and he can try and pull away with the rest of the guys. Lynx has got the move done on Bunty down in towards turn 1. So Lynx is now doing his into P9 on Bunty. Zernima's on the back of him as well further down the field. Not many moves happening further down the field either. Rudy's battling in with Isu again. That'll be quite interesting. Bunty runs wide of the on the chicane, and Zernima is clean through around the outside and towards Tulsa. Gets the job done. No inches apart there pretty much for Zernima, and he's through into P10 comfortably.
Yeah, comfortably. He was going to get ahead of them on penalties, of course. And if we take a look at the penalty situation, 6 seconds for Luca, 6 seconds for Isu. Everyone else who has the black and white flag next to their name is on 3 seconds at this moment in time, as the pace Tom Robbo has got on that set of soft tyres. He's already got 1 second ahead of Fleddy. So Fleddy's going to come under pressure from Noah, and perhaps most importantly, under pressure from Jensen as well. He's all underneath the rear wing of Noah at the moment, not with too much ERS though, so he is going to start clipping down the straight once you get below that 10% mark. Of course, he is going to start clipping, and that might make it a bit more difficult to get the move done.
He might actually get Fleddy down and towards someone. Fleddy's an absolute sitting duck. Noah is through, and Jensen is through as well. So both of them get the move done in towards Tamburello. Crucial for Jensen. Of course, Noah's gone off. Noah's into the wall. Coming out of Tamburello, I think he has hit the wall. Coming out of Tamburello, Jensen now is freed into second position. Tom Robbo leads the way, 1.6 seconds over Jensen. We saw what happened last week. Tom Robbo made a mistake through the castle section. I don't think he's going to make a move this time. Noah, I don't think, has got any damage somehow, which is unbelievable. I think Noah has he's actually moving out of the way, possibly a Black Box, so he might have a bit of damage. But Black Box, of course, on that set of soft compound tire, is probably the quicker driver. He is doing his into P6, trying to catch Luca as well in that battle. Tom Robbo leading the way, Jensen in second, and this now comes down to the 2 championship leaders. Who has got the better pace? We saw Tom Robbo last week have the pace in Baku, then make a mistake. We've seen it so far with Jensen this season. He's been the quickest driver of the field. So which IFR man is going to come out on top? Is it Tom Robbo? Is it Jensen? 4 laps to go after this.
Yeah, they've got the same age tyres, of course, so that shouldn't really play too much of effect. Noah has got slight damage to his front wing as Rudy and Isu are battling once again, and Rudy's, I think, had to go over the curb here, and here comes Stinson. Isu again driving all over the track as they just come down that run down towards Variante Alta, and it's a slight mistake from Isu. That allows Stinson through, allows Rudy through as well, and I think Chalkers is going to try and have a move here all the way around the outside of Avatsa. It's going to be a close one again, Isu. Not really leaving a car's width of room. He's driving very aggressively at this moment in time and not making himself any friends. And it's not really helping him out because he was 14th not so long ago. He's now down to 16th. Going back to Noah, I think he's got to stay out there on the circuit. If he pits now, he's possibly going to come out, well, he's going to come out a long way behind this battle and would be very close to the back of Daniel.
Waste away points, of course, from the sprint race. That's what I think is probably going to drive him on to try and get towards the end of the race. It is slight damage, as you say, on the cards. Right side end plate damage for Noah. Lynx has got left side end plate damage also as well. So he's down there in 9th position. Further down the field, player 16, who was Stinson and Chalkers, have both got 5 seconds and 3 seconds worth of penalties indeed. And I've just spotted actually on the task system, we've got 2 IFR Noahs apparently. So I think both of them are using the same number. Nuff, by the way, is going side by side with the real Noah down in towards Rabata, gets the move done. There's a spinner further down the field, and that's Connor that has spun coming out of, and that is Aqua Minerale, I think, and he's crashed into the wall, I think.
Yeah, he has crashed into the wall. Like, a bit late to cause a safety car, but that means he's starting from way down in 18th in the grid, whereas for two men he's close to win the championship. Jensen and Tom Robbo are up 1-2 at this moment in time. Noah and Noof actually still having a bit of a battle there. Noah not doing too bad, having a massive moment though. Coming through the exit of Tamburello, I thought losing your front wing give you a bit of understeer. He had no such understeer there. All over the place. Perpetuum now picks up a time penalty as well. This is getting pretty costly. But out ahead, the front two drivers just running away with it at this moment in time. Tom Robbo and Jensen. And Jensen almost within DRS range. If he gets within it this time around, he might have a chance on the final lap. As we've got a spinner again, and that is Stinson off. And that is coming out of Tamburello.
It is coming out of Tamburello. Daniel's going to get through as well, so he is up in position into 16th. Of course, no point scoring positions beyond 7th position. These are all the point scoring finishes. Jensen is just outside of a second, I think, coming across the DRS detection point. We'll see if he's picked up DRS. Lucky boy, he has, and he's got 2 laps to go to try and catch Tom Robbo. Based on the pace that we've seen, I think Tom Robbo's probably going to win this. 9/10 of a second coming across the line to start the penultimate lap of this sprint qualifying. Jensen there in second, Fleddy in third. My action has drawn attention now to Lynx, and Noah batting out once again. Luca is catching Black Box down in towards turn 1, and there goes Luca past Black Box in towards turn 1 as well, and Noah is overtaken by Lynx in behind. So Lynx is through, and he's into that 8th position. Noah there in 9th. Zerdaman's not entirely out of that either, possibly picking up, of course, maybe points. Luca is not too far ahead, actually, of this battle. And he's only on the other side of the Villeneuve chicane as he comes out. Jensen, by the way, is running a lot of time. As Noah has made a mistake, the real Noah has made a mistake, as now Zerdaman goes all the way around the outside of Tosa. Noah picks up a 3-second penalty, and then Zerdaman through, and he's into 9th.
Yeah, Zerdaman, of course, he might sneak a point at this moment in time, and that is Stinson out of the race. He's pulled into the pits and retired. He was down in last place anyway, so maybe just thinking, have a bit of a longer break, grab yourself a drink before the proper race. Black Box, he's now picked up a 3-second time penalty. And here we are on board with Jensen. Both of these two have used a lot of ERS throughout of this race, and Jensen probably is just about as close as you can get away with being, and maybe have a chance into Tamburello here. He's got the DRS as well. This is going to be so close. On the run down towards Tamburello. He's going to have to go the long way round. Is he going to be able to do so here? Tom Robbo just sort of sits in the middle of the road. All the way round the outside goes Jensen. He's going to have to cut the curb, and he's round. He's been tapped round by his IFR teammate. Can he recover quickly enough? He might not lose too many positions in all of that, but that's a disaster for Jensen.
He's lost 2 positions. Perpetuum and Fleddy are through. He could lose even more, because look at the train in behind. Black Box, Luca and Nuth now beginning to catch. That was inevitable, and Jensen has spun again, coming through the Villeneuve chicane. He's overheated those soft compound tyres respectfully, and now Jensen is all the way down in PA. What could have it been? We saw Tom Robbo last week spin through the castle section and crash through the castle section and lose the lead of the race, and that's exactly what we've seen with Jensen again. Jensen, to be honest, tried it all the way around the outside. It is very difficult, like we saw with Verstappen and Hamilton, the wet conditions in real life. We saw it there. Tamburello is such a difficult corner, and it can really cost you out in the end, and that's exactly what's happened between both the IFR men. Drama here in terms of the championship, but Tom Robbo now on the run down in towards Ravata for the final time. Of course, one more race to come. It's a full 50% race after this. Tom Robbo will be on pole position for it. He has drove exceptionally well. He drove the best out of the 2, and he wins here in Imola. Tom Robbo wins from Perpetuum in second, Fleddy in third. A lot of penalties. Nuth could actually get up in towards the field here. Fleddy across the line to finish in third. Black Box, Luca and Nuth are going to finish all on the line, and Nuth has actually got up to 4th. As a result, Black Box there in 5th. Zerdaman is in 6th with no penalties. Link 7th. And then it's Jensen, Noah, Luca. Jensen actually is P8 in the end. Boss wanted across the line in 11th. And it's Bunty in 12th. Isu and Rudy and Needy side by side coming across the line. Isu's picked up another 3-second penalty. He doesn't really care about the track limits against Rudy. Rudy there in P13, Chalkers P14. Isu now down to P15, and we wait on Daniel to finish. But Tom Robbo wins. Perpetuum second. Fleddy in third. Fantastic sprint qualifying, and we've still got one more race to come.
Yeah, we have, and Tom Robbo, he'll be pretty happy about how that went. The incident that I saw between them, I think you're right, it was never really going to work around the outside. It was always obvious that Jensen was either going to get squeezed against Tom Robbo's car or have to go flying it over the curb. He chose to do the contact with the car, and we know what it's like on this game. Front tyre versus rear tyre, and it's a car whose front tyre hits that always ends up spinning around. Tom Robbo, though, gets the full 10 points, gets pole position for the sprint race, for the feature race, and with the pace he's shown in that, he should be looking very good indeed, I think. Just a So yeah, really, really good race overall. Perpetuum, he's getting his best result of the season. Watch out for him starting in second, and Fleddy proving that one-shot pace wasn't a flash in the pan, managing to get third.
Yeah, Fleddy drove a fantastic race, but it is our resident Casper Ackerman on the top step of the podium. It is, of course, Tom Robbo, and the IFR man, of course, makes up for that Baku race. Can he now translate, of course, into the full race? Then we'll just have to wait and see. Fantastic racing, of course, here in the sprint race. And let's have a run through the full grid. Oh, Tom Robbo, by the way, started 14th on the grid. Won the sprint qualifying and is now on pole position, of course, for the main race. Perpetuum in second. Fleddy in third from pole position, drove well. Didn't have the pace on the second stint, but still drove well to finish in third. Nuth in fourth, a little bit an underdog in fourth. Blackbox in fifth, Zernema in sixth, drove exceptionally well in the mid-pack. Lynx in seventh, Jensen in eighth, recovered to that position, luckily for him. Noah there in ninth, Luca ran off the top 10. Boss Wanted, Bunty, Rudy, Chalkers, and Isu ran off the top 15. Daniel, the only other man to finish. Isu, by the way, 21 seconds worth of penalties. Watch out for that, maybe in the 50% race. Stinson, Connor, and Funky Chicken all DNFing out the race at various stages. And Funky Chicken saying in the Discord server that his race lasted about as many laps as Mazepin and Bahrain.
Yeah, it was quite a chaotic, I think, start to his race. I think it's fair to say. I can't imagine he's going to be too overly thrilled with how that went. He's starting right at the back of the grid, but not over. Still chances to try and make things work, of course, in the main race. We do appear to have lost James ever so slightly, so apologies for that. James, are you back?
I am back. Do you know what caused that? Siri came on my iPad. That's what caused that. Also, thank goodness for that. And anyways, we are about to get going, of course, for the actual 50% race. 32 laps, of course, waiting the drivers out on track. No short qualifying, so no 18 minutes worth of qualifying as you were used to. But of course, a fantastic race. Tom Robbo, of course, is on pole position. And let's just talk through that race in a bit more depth. Tom Robbo, of course, had the pace in Baku. Showed it for 25 of the 26 laps, crashed through the castle section. Here on 16 lap pace, he was the quickest driver at the whole field.
Yeah, certainly. Did a fantastic job. Like you said, quickest driver in the field. Absolutely fantastic performance from Tom Robbo. I wonder if there's going to be a few words in IFR, like I said, about that move with Jensen. I think it was fair. I think there was no chance there. Tom Robbo on the final lap of the race, doesn't care who you're racing against. You're never really going to leave too much room there on the outside. But yeah, Jensen, he'll be kicking himself. I think more about the spin afterwards. It was a bit of a... We all know what it's like, especially on this game. You've got to be very careful on your tyres once you've overheated them. Spun it round. He could have still got fourth if it wasn't for that. He's in 8th place, but he'd have definitely wanted to be higher up the order. I wonder if we've learned anything about the strategy. I think nearly the whole field will be medium softs now.
There will be. Mediums is the quicker tyre. It's as simple as that. Mediums are the quicker tyre, and they're probably going to be a split strategy, because, of course, as opposed to what we saw in that 25% sprint race where the drivers were qualifying on that set of soft compounded tyres, then they're getting fresh tyres. So they're all going to be on an even playing field, which I think is very rare to see. Of course, even TTML, where every single driver is on the same playing field, they have to decide, of course, what strategy is best. We saw in F2, when I commentated here on Thursday, a majority of the drivers went for that set of medium compounded tyre. Will we be needing that, of course, in the race? Who knows? I can see, by the way, in the chat, quite a few of you who wish me a happy birthday. Thank you so much for that. And to confirm, yes, sign-ups do open after this race. They will, in fact, be open tomorrow morning after, of course, we've deliberated in terms of this race and in terms of this race. And it gives the drivers, of course, 24 hours to prepare their sign-up if you do want to sign up for TTML. And, of course, you can find all the information for that at TTML_F1 on Twitter. And that, I think, is pretty much that for now. And, of course, we're just waiting on the 50% race grid to be formed. Funky Chicken, of course, our lobby host, is setting that up right now. And hopefully we'll be able to get everyone in. Perpetuum, though, coming back to something like his best there in second. Freddy drove a solid race in third. But looking further down the field, Jensen there in P8 screams at me possibly as a potential winner in this race. I mean, Tom Robbo came from 14th on the grid to first. What will happen here?
Yeah, I mean, Jensen, it was involved in that incident at the start, I think, with Funky Chicken and maybe a couple of other drivers. I've heard him actually say in the chat, try not to go 4 wide. Never mind 3 wide. So I think there was a was a bit of carnage there. Very interesting to see whether that will happen. We might see stewards' inquiries, not in between the races. The stewards are pretty good at TTML. Well, not that good, unfortunately, to get them done in between the races. But if the last race, the sprint, was anything to go by, this should be absolutely brilliant. I think it is going to be hard for Jensen to win it, though. A lot of drivers, obviously, everyone's starting on fresh tyres. He won't be on the optimum strategy at the start of the race. He needs to make some moves, though. He was effectively, going into that race, he was effectively what? He was 16 points ahead of Connor, 18 ahead of Tom Robbo. He's now 8 points ahead of Tom Robbo. If they finish how they start, the Williams man's going to be leading the championship, but we've got a lot of driving to do before then.
We have got a lot of driving to do before then. Of course, 32 laps after having a 16-lap race will put you in that sense of mentality where you've got to try and do as well as possible. Hopefully, like we've seen so far this week, the sprint races are normally bad in terms of the driving standards. F2 was an exception because we had a full wet qualifying, a full wet race, in fact, and then obviously switched the inters later on. But as opposed to that, the driving standards across the board have just been a little bit poor in terms of the sprint qualifying. Hopefully, everyone is going to translate that into a bit more respect and a bit more fine driving out on track, and that's exactly, of course, what we want to see. The lobby is all set. We're deliberating at the minute in terms of if there's going to be a break or not. I don't think there is going to be a break, so I would just say ready up now. It's been about 5 minutes since we actually finished the race, so if you haven't got a drink in that time, or if you haven't gone for a toilet break, probably now is the best time to do so before we begin.
Yeah, I think if you haven't gone for a break now, you've pretty much ruined your chances. So I'm not aware that there was breaks in other divisions, which caused a bit of issues. But like you said, It has been a few minutes. This will be intriguing to see what the different drivers go for. Ferrari saying they're going to go for the master plan of the hard tyres, just keeping the old Ferrari strategy as it used to be. I doubt they'll be doing that. And of course, we've got dynamic weather. Who's to say we won't go into the race and it'll be absolutely throwing it down, and everything we spoke about with strategies goes out the window.
It does go out the window, and hopefully we're going to be seeing a fantastic racing, of course, out on track. In terms of the task system, by the way, task system, unfortunately, I don't think is going to work for the sprint race. So it's going to be good old-fashioned commentary off what we see in front of us, which is what we are paid to do, of course. Are we paid to do that? You'll have to make up that assumption for yourself. But, of course, we are going back into not into short qualifying. We go, of course, for the 32-lap race here in Imola at the Autodromo Enzo E. Dino Ferrari. The first time, of course, since the San Marino Grand Prix in 2006. The first time on the F1 games since F1 2013. 4.9 kilometres in length, 19 turns awaiting our drivers, of course, out on track. One DRS zone down the start-finish straight down and towards the Tamburello chicane. And, of course, we have to pay tribute to the legend that was Ayrton Senna, who sadly, fatally, passed away because of his crash. His awful, awful crash in 1994, I think it was. And, of course, he will be remembered, as will Sir Frank Williams and as well as Roland Ratzenberger, who have obviously been claimed by the circuits. Frank Williams, of course, passing away today after a short illness in hospital. But hopefully, this is going to be a race which we are going to absolutely love and enjoy. And hopefully this is a race where Williams might come out on top.
I mean, they have done already in the sprint race, obviously. Great job from Tom Robbo. Nuff as well, getting a pretty good, decent result. I think I saw Perpetuum has left the session there at the bottom of the screen. So hopefully, for the sake of getting this race underway, hopefully he'll wait until after the formation lap to join. Otherwise, it can cause a few issues. I can tell you, I know you can't see it on your screen at the moment, it is beautiful sunshine here in Imola, in the Emilia-Romagna region. 3 different names of races have taken place. Well, 4, if we're being technical. We had the Italian Grand Prix in 1980, 26 San Marino Grand Prix, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, and the Made in Italy and Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. So who knows what they're going to come up with next time it's on the calendar.
I didn't even know there was a Made in Italy Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, to be honest. But there we are. Well, we think of it, though, as the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. That's its current format, of course. And I think, was there once that this was actually a European Grand Prix, if I'm not mistaken?
I'm not so sure. And I remember it being the only track apart from Monza to have had the Italian Grand Prix, and that's because they were doing renovations to Monza in 1980. And it proved to be such a popular circuit that they invented the San Marino Grand Prix for it. But I'll have to check whether it got designated a European Grand Prix one year.
We'll have to wait and see on that. But What we can see, of course, is the drivers now running around on track. 32 laps, of course, awaiting that drive. Perpetuum hasn't taken control of his car just yet. His AI, however, has put him on a set of soft compound tyre. Tom Robbo, interestingly, is on a set of medium compound tyre. So Tom Robbo, you would imagine, obviously with the Gulfstream system in play, Perpetuum will be the slowest off the start. Tom Robbo will have a comfortable lead, unless Fleddy gets a really good start, of course, down in towards turn 1, or turns 2 and 3, of course, at Tamperello. But Tom Robbo out on top. Interesting to see, though, not as many drivers as I thought going for a set of medium compound tyres. It's pretty much halfway split down the field in terms of the strategy.
Yeah, I expected a few more going on a set of the mediums, to be honest. This should lead to a more exciting race. Again, Daniel, the lowest man down the order on a fresh set of soft tyres. Didn't work for him too much in the sprint race. That's because he spent a lot of it stuck behind Isu. And he's going to be stuck behind Isu this time around. He's got ahead of him on the formation lap, but he won't be able to stay there no matter how much he tries. And you can see there the Red Bull driver going through, so that's going to be one thing to watch. Jensen, he's gone for a set of the medium tyres as well. What could help Tom Robbo here is a lot of the cars behind him are on the softs. Is he going to be able to get past by all of them? I don't think so. So a few of those soft runners might just help hold back Lynx, Jensen, Noah, those that are on the mediums later on. And it is, of course, Jensen that Tom Robbo will be looking out for.
I'd honestly imagine Zernemer to probably pull away from Lynx. As long as he's on the back of Black Box, standing towards the first couple of laps, Lynx is going to be probably more than a second behind, and that's going to create a knock-on effect in behind. Jensen, obviously, on that set of mediums, we know he's a quick driver. Can he get through the traffic? That is obviously going to build. Can he build through the Constantino effect? That is obviously going to build as well. But the drivers are beginning to join the grid, and once again, Luke, I'm going to come across to you. Who's your top three?
I am going to go, this time, I'm going to go Tom Robbo, Perpetuum, and Jensen.
Interesting. Do you know what? I'm going to tend to agree with that top three. I think that is probably going to be our top three on. Perpetuum hopefully will be able to take control of his car and rejoin the lobby after the race has begun. But Tom Robbo out on top, Perpetuum alongside him on the grid. Fleddy just in behind. He could get the best start out of the whole lot of the Nuth as well. In behind, the 5 red lights are going to go out very quickly once again in Imola. It is round number 3, I should say, of the championship. And it is lights out on the way we go. And Perpetuum's actually got a very good start. He actually goes away from the field by a second coming across the line to start lap 1. But Perpetuum leading the way down in towards on. Tom Robbo there is on the inside, pretty much defending off Fleddy. And Nuth tries to go all the way around the outside and behind. There's a little bit of contact further down. The McLaren having to go across was Rudy. Jensen is also positioned to black box again, but Perpetuum leads the way. His ghost car leads the way down and towards the Villeneuve chicane. There's a crash further down the field. Both Alfa Romeos that have been caught up in a collision. Daniel and Stinson are both out the race, and a VSC has been deployed.
VSC and Tom Robbo and Perpetuum, the AI, I think, of Perpetuum just getting in the way, and it is now a full safety car. Well, wow. Tom Robbo have to let Perpetuum's AI back through. That could be a bit of a contentious decision, but yeah, Tom Robbo is now back into the lead of this race. Perpetuum in second. Hopefully he will be able to rejoin the session. Fleddy in third. Goodness knows what happened there, but both Alfa Romeos getting taken out. Absolute disaster for them. And we have now got a full safety car. It'll be interesting to see whether any other drivers got damage in that.
Funky Chicken's lost his front wing entirely, so Funky Chicken down there in 17th. Obviously must have been caught up in that contact as well. Possibly 3 wide, I think, coming out of the Villeneuve chicane, or just before the Villeneuve chicane. That is probably what has happened. Perpetuum actually has managed to join the session in a very good position. The safety car is out. He can take control of his car in the safety car. And obviously, is not going to bring anything in terms of how his strategy is going to run. His AI car stays out there, which is the first thing. But he can take control of his car underneath the safety car, which is very good indeed from that perspective. Zernemer and Black Box, interestingly, in, possibly I'm thinking, for a set of medium compound tyre for both of them. And there's a set of medium certainly for Black Box. No front wing change on the car. Zernemer's not got a front wing change. And it looks like, actually, some of the guys are going from a set of softs onto a set of mediums, including Bunty and Rudy as well. Isu, however, bucking the trend, he goes onto a set of hard compound tyres, as well as chalkers, in fact.
Yeah, they will definitely get you towards the end of the race. Apparently, just reading the chat, Isu was involved in that incident with the Alfa Romeos. He's not made himself too many friends in the Hinwell-based team, of course. Alfa Romeo, the entity being Italian, but the F1 team, what will Sauber, still being based in Switzerland. So he's come out on a set of the hard tyres. Zoidemer, it's pretty early on, I think, around here to go for a set of those, the yellow ward medium tyres. So they might be in a bit of trouble at the end of the race. And we said in the sprint, you won't want to do 2 stops because of the pit loss time. 27-28 seconds around this circuit. One of the longest, I think possibly maybe the longest on this game, seeing as we have lost Vietnam, of course. Not sure whether going on the mediums was the right strategy. They'll be faster now. I think round about lap 19, lap 20, they might start just to struggle, and the final few laps could be close to a puncture. We'll wait and see, though.
Well, I'm imagining with this strategy, Zerdam and Black Box are probably thinking there's going to be another safety car in this race, and they're probably going to stick on another set of tyres later on in this race, unless they've came into the pit lane and thought, do you know what, we'll get a pit stop out the way now, and then, of course, he's going to use up the 2 dry compounder tyre that you're mandatorily going to have to use within the race. So it could be quite a good strategy from both Zerdam and both Black Box in that effect, but I think both of them are going on to a set of mediums and possibly expecting another safety car. That's where I think my head is at. Connor is just in front of these guys. Zerdam now is passing the pit lane, so he's not going to go in. Isu, however, is. So Isu on that set of hards is, and nobody else is going to follow him in, I think. Funky Chicken might. He's on that set of soft compounder tyre as well. So I think Funky Chicken might latch on back into the pit lane, and he has. So Funky Chicken is back in to the pit lane. And both of them are going, it looks like, onto a set of medium compounder tyres. Tom Robo out on top, though, Perpetuum in second, Freddy in third, and that was probably the earliest safety car deployment I think I've ever seen, bar from, of course, the PSGL event on Friday, where it came out, obviously, on lap 1 as well.
Yeah, but I'm very surprised we didn't actually get one on lap 1 in the sprint race. The carnage that happened, and Funky Chicken being involved in both of them. Isu and Funky Chicken going for that strategy. You said, James, they both started on a set of the medium tyres. You've got to use 2 different types, and they have now fulfilled that requirement. Looking at the position changes, the biggest winner by far in this race is NSX Connor. Started way down the back of the field, 18th, last but one. He now finds himself in 10th place on a set of the medium tyres with a few soft runners up ahead of him. He could be another good race for Connor of him fighting through the field. Don't write him off for a podium.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Connor, P10, we saw in Baku how quick he was in that second stint, and normally his second stints are better than his first stints, but that doesn't come into effect, of course. He's now on that set of medium compounder tyres. If the drivers obviously didn't pit in, he would be right down the back of the field. Safety car is going to come in this lap. Funky Chicken actually hasn't latched onto the back yet, which is quite surprising. So Funky Chicken needs to latch onto the back. Safety car, though, is coming in this lap. The virtual Burn Marlander is going to be Tom Robbo, and he is now going to lead Perpetuum, who is in control of his car now, on that set of soft compounder tyres. Where is the start going to be? I think down in towards Ravata is probably the best way to go. Oh, as Perpetuum nearly goes into the back of Tom Robbo. Very close indeed, but he's literally like super glue to the back of the Williams wing, and the Williams now is going to be under pressure as Tom Robbo literally goes on the exit of Ravata through 17, through 18, and now we're back underway, and that's a beautiful start from Tom Robbo, but Perpetuum's going to follow him through. On that sort of soft compounder tyres, is he going to get the run down in towards turn 1? I don't think so, and in fact, nobody is going to get the run on each other down in towards turn 1. Tom Robbo leads the way, Perpetuum in second, Fleddy in third, a very good clean restart by all. Rudy is on the back of Chalk, is further down the field. Can he try and get the move done down in towards Tamburello, who risks it down the inside line? Chalkers realises it, and Rudy is through, and he's into 13th position. Lovely stuff there, as Lynx has got a move done. Jensen, in fact, has got the move done on Lynx. Lynx, I think, made a mistake coming out of Tamburello. Tom Robbo leads the way, Perpetuum second, Fleddy in third, nothing fourth, and they're actually putting nearly a second clear of Jensen.
Yeah, they are. I think it was Lynx that made a mistake there in the end. The move that Rudy pulled off ended up costing Chalkers in the end. Bunty managed to get through as well. We have had a yellow flag. That's Isu who's had an incident. But yeah, Jensen, he's going to have to get onto the back of this pack pretty quickly. They are going to have the slipstream, of course. And this is the first hot lap Perpetuum's driven, as Noofa's now made a mistake coming through Aqua Minerale, and that's allowed this just to close up ever so slightly. So a cleaner restart than we had an actual start. Hopefully we will see just green flag action all the way to the checkered flag now, and it has been an ideal first lap for Tom Robbo. In between the Ravatsas is the best point to go. You get a good run through the second one, and the dirty air makes it pretty hard for the car behind to follow, especially at that point in the race. And Perpetuum just doesn't seem to have the pace to keep with him, which is surprising, as he's on the soft tyres.
He is on the set of soft compounder tyres, and I think, honestly, he went down a gear coming through Ravata, and that's why he lost 0.2 of a second on the exit of there. Noah, by the way, is on the back of Lynx down in towards turn 1. Doesn't get the move done, but he was close enough to try and get the move done in towards Tamburello. Lucas following through as well, the TTG man in 8th position. Tom Robbo, though, is a second clear of Perpetuum. I can only think Perpetuum's tyres are colder than what Tom Robbo's are at this stage. Of course, joining the session, obviously a little bit late after that connection issue that he had, Perpetuum's tyres could be literally driving like he's on ice at this stage, and Fleddy is right on the back from it. Otherwise, it's Fleddy that has got all of the pace of a Perpetuum at this stage in the race. Luca, by the way, is on the back of Noah running down in towards Aqua Minerale. I don't think he's going to risk it down the inside line. But remember, he's on a set of soft compound tyres as well. He's got both the Aston Martin and the Mercedes ahead of Lynx and Noah, and everything now Constantine is up once again. The top 5, Jensen's latched onto the back of that first group, and now they're beginning to pull away from Lynx in behind, but Lynx had a better Minerale and through Variante Alta as well, and he's now again latched onto the back of Jensen, and it's only going to be DRS next time around. Is it going to be close enough though for Luca to try and get a move on Noah? I don't think it will be this time around.
No, he's just stuck in this train at this moment in time. DRS has been enabled, so they'll be able to use it next time around. Ooh. Luke's got a much better one coming through with that then Fleddy here, so he's going to be down the inside and ahead before they even get to Tamburello. So that's 2 Williams now in the top 3, and Perpetuum's around. Perpetuum's lost it on the curb. Haas driver's gone round at Tamburello. He's going to drop a long way down the order here, possibly outside of the top 10. His tyres are definitely going to be warm enough now after that spin, and you've got Blackbox and Rudy trying to go past him. Blackbox has managed to get ahead, Rudy hasn't, so Perpetuum from second place down into 12. He could lose another place here as down the inside goes Rudy, and you've got Jensen battling with Fleddy as well into Piratella. Jensen gets the move done. Has he got a bit deep though? No. And Fleddy can't get alongside. So big changes in the field there. All of a sudden we've got a Williams 1-2, and Tom Robbo now has a healthy lead over his teammate.
Yeah, Fleddy has dropped off quite massively, I think. He might have just actually avoided Perpetuum and all of this. He's in 4th position. Jensen out for 3rd. Jensen has really caught fire on this last lap around. Fleddy there in 4th position. He's either made a mistake or something has happened. Maybe on the curb he's took avoiding action past Perpetuum, and he's lost a lot of time on the back of nothing, obviously being overtaken by Jensen in the meantime. He, however, is going to get the run on Jensen with DRS running down towards someone. That ERS is going to be used up as well if he so wishes to use it. He's not. Noah, however, is going to be through on Lynx down in towards someone. I think Connor's going to get the move done on Boss Wanted as well. He's alongside down in towards through turn 1 and then in towards Tamburello and through turn 3. Now Connor is through and he's into 8th position, and Noah is through and he's into 5th position. So making moves there. Tom Robbo 1.3 seconds clear, nothing 2nd position. So Frank will be looking down and thinking, you know what, the last time he came into H3 2020 was his last race, of course, in charge with the family, with the Williams team. And now Williams are 1st and 2nd in Imola.
Yeah, Williams and McLaren towards the top. This is like my childhood. I love this circuit. I absolutely love this track. We've seen drivers, if you make a mistake, you get punished. None of this 15 miles of runoff area that we're going to see later on in the season. Another sprint race at the French Grand Prix. A proper driver circuit, really challenging as well. And those soft tyres are still in a good condition. He's managed to now get back within DRS range of his teammate, and he's dragging some of the others along with him. The top 7 in a train at this moment in time. The only one who's anywhere near to the car in front, though, is Luca, all over the back of Lynx, just not able to get it done in a conventional place. A bit like what we saw Tom Robbo do in the sprint. He might have to think about where could be the best position to get this move done. He is really close, though, to the back of Lynx here, and in the end, being stuck in a DRS train might not matter one iota, as I think Bunty's gone around coming out of Rivatsa. Down the inside goes Luca. He takes 6th place.
Yeah, job done for Luca. He's through and he's into 6th position. Lynx there in 7th position. And this is quite literally rolling back the years in terms of the Williams team. First time, possibly in 25 years, or just under 25 years, 24 years to be exact, Heinz Harold Frentzen, the last driver to win around Imola in the Williams in 1997. And in fact, actually, I'll correct myself, it was Ralf Schumacher 2001. So it is 20 years since Williams last won around here in Imola. Obviously, this is sim racing, not real life. Tom Robbo leading the way. Williams are rolling back the years. Jensen in 3rd position. Fleddy in 4th. Noah in 5th. Luca there in 6th, doing a phenomenal job as well. On the back, however, Rudy, on the back of Black Box, looks all over him. This stage in the race, the Aston Martin and the McLaren are going to fight side by side, of course, up in towards Variante Alta. Rudy just in behind for now. Perpetuum after that mistake, down in 13th position. Another spinner is Isu further down the field. So Isu was spun coming out of Aqua Minerale, and that is a difficult corner to try and get right at the best of time. But he has spun. Nuth, by the way, is he going to attack the Williams for the lead of the race? I think he is. It's going to be Williams side by side now. Luke with the fastest lap of the race, but Nuth not going to get the move done. Backs out on Tom Robbo, but both of them now within 0.2 of a second of each other. McLaren there in third of Jensen, Fleddy in fourth. I'm loving this.
Yeah, if they were communicating, I'm not sure that was the best idea there. Maybe because the soft tyres are still clearly fantastically good at this moment in time. Maybe it would have been better just to let Noof go, because holding back ever so slightly, you can see how close Jensen and Fleddy are. I mean, a couple of... Oh, Noof's off! Noof's in the wall! Big accident! Loses it on power coming out of Tosa. He's out of the race. Will that be another safety car? Indeed it is.
It is, and the 1-2 for Williams has gone down the drain. A commentator's curse from the head commentator here, but Tom Robbo still out in front. Safety car, though, is deployed after a spin for Nuff. Coming out of Tulsa corner, looks like he got caught on the outside curb, went off on the left-hand side, got caught on the wall, and he spun the car around, and unfortunately for him, he's out the race with the left front tyre off, but Tom Robbo leading the way. Jensen in second, Fleddy in third. What happens now? Because clearly, softs were better than mediums at this stage in the race. However, surely drivers have got to pit in now with the safety car being out.
If you want the softs, you've got to come in and put a set of mediums on. We're getting towards the time when you want to be coming in anyway, so I think now could be the time. I think we could see almost everyone coming to the pits here. Tom Robbo and Jensen, whether they're going to think about, do they put the softs on now and hope for another safety car because they won't get towards the end of the race, or they do that double stop that we saw Funky Chicken and Isu do earlier on? I'm not so sure, but Zoidema and Noah staying out on track. They go 1-2, of course, and it is hard tyres for Tom Robbo. Tom Robbo, Jensen, they're going to try and get these hards to go easily. They will towards the end of the race. They're going to have absolutely no pace, though, once the safety car comes in.
Yeah, 22 laps is what they're going to try and make towards the end of the race. And honestly, I think it's the wrong call, to be honest. Lynx and Perpetuum have also gone. So it looks to me as if it's like an IFR split in terms of how the strategy has gone. Tom Robert Jensen on in terms of the hard compounded tyres. We're having a bit of a... Are we having a bit of a glitch, by the way, with the graphics? Because it's saying everyone is still in the pit lane, which is still really weird. Rudy's coming through there. Perpetuum, Funky Chicken, Bunty, Isu. Bunty and Isu are still in the pit lane, I think, and now they're both out. That's very strange. It's flickering coming out the pits. Very strange indeed. No one leading the way, though. Zerdem second, Chalkers in third. The three of them guys still yet to come into the pit lane, of course. Tom Rubble there in fourth. I honestly think hard compounded tyres probably the wrong strategy, but Tom Rubble can kind of utilise Jensen and behind him as a bit of a wingman. Fleddy, however, is going to be a lot quicker. Connor in 8th position as Perpetuum has crashed coming through into Piratella. He's gone straight on, in fact, at Piratella. Bunty is there, and he's gone straight into the wall. Surely that is maybe a setup glitch or something that has happened with Perpetuum. He is in the wall, and he's crashed underneath the safety car, and now they have to clear up that car as well.
Yeah, of course, it's not the first car to lose it under the safety car at this circuit. We saw George Russell do it last year. Looked like he was going to get his first point for Williams at Imola, and if anyone's watched Kimi Raikkonen's absolutely nonplussed reaction, as Kimi Raikkonen is to everything, I imagine he was pretty nonplussed at the reaction of his own child's birth as well, for being honest. And this is interesting. This is what I expected Tom Robbo to do. He's going to now come in and put a fresh set of medium tyres on, as is Jensen. They've sacrificed track position, but they are on now the better set of tyres. No matter, they were damned if they did, damned if they didn't. In that situation, when the safety car came out, it was the worst possible time if you were on the medium. So almost a joint decision by AFR to go for that. And of course, Black Box, who started on the softs, he could do the more conventional, come in, put a set of mediums on until the end. Noah pitted on that lap as well. He went onto a set of hards. Not sure why he decided to carry on that time around. I think maybe just to avoid the double stack with Black Box, possibly, both in IFR. But everyone has now done their compulsory pit stop. Can Zoidema get those medium tyres to get until the end of the race?
I don't think he will, to be honest. He's 3 laps better. Well, no, he's 8 laps actually better off than everyone else on that tyre because he's already got the warmer tyres out on track. However, Fleddy, Luca, Connor especially, I'm looking at on that set of soft compounded tyres. I wouldn't be surprised if he's leading this race by lap 16 because the safety car is going to be coming in this lap, and Connor is very quick on a set of soft compounded tyres. He's probably quicker than everyone else now in the field. So if there's any chance now that Connor can try and win this race, now is the time. But he's got to try and rely on a safety car to come in later on in this race, or to come out, I should say, later on this race. And speaking of the safety cars coming in, they are coming in this lap. And it is, of course, Zerdema, who is the virtual burn miner. He's the virtual safety car. Nuth, by the way, getting a report in the Discord, it was his pedals that went, in fact. So Nuth, his pedals went, coming through Tulsa at turn 7, and it's always TTML and he apologises, and it's so unfortunate because Nut was in second position and he looks solid in terms of a possible race win.
Yeah, such a shame for him, but these things happen, unfortunately. We see Perpetuum's had an issue as well, and Zoidima's got a bit earlier than what we saw Tom Robbo do earlier on. He has sent it and absolutely caught Chalker's napping here. A fantastic restart by the reigning F2 champion then. We are going to get, hopefully, 21 laps of green action, and it is Zoidima, Chalker's, Fleddy, Luca. We're seeing some swaps in the background as Bunt is coming into the pits. Did he pick up damage under the safety car, perhaps? Connor's not had a great restart, and he's now got Boss Wanted all over the back of him. So the man who really needs to make some moves on those soft tyres, having a bit of a tricky restart there. Luca all over the back of Fleddy, not able to get anything done. So no real changes in the field at this moment in time. Tom Robbo's managed to get ahead of Noah in all of that. And now Jensen's got the move done through Villeneuve as well. Those medium tyres, you just saw a demonstration there of why Tom Robbo and Jensen wanted to get rid of the mediums and go onto the set of hards. It's worked fantastically well for them. But at the front of the field, it is Zoidima in the lead of this race already by nearly a second.
And Luca nearly went off there coming through Piratella. Connor now catches back up. It's within 0.4 of a second now for Connor. But look at Zoidima, he's already a second clear. Chalkers is now holding up the rest of the field. Freddy, Luca, Connor in behind. Connor comes steaming on the back of Luca. My God, he got that car stopped. How did he on earth did he get that car stopped? I do not know. But Connor's there in fifth. He's on that set of self-companion side. Rudy as well is going to go side by side. Down towards Ravazza with Black Box, looks down the inside line, they're leaning on each other, and both men are round nearly, and Black Box is round actually, he is round, and Funky Chicken does well to avoid it as well. The Ghosting actually came into effect, and Black Box is sent round. Rudy sent it down the inside line. That wasn't going to work at all. Really needs to have a good, long, hard look at himself for that one. Funky Chicken is under pressure though from Isu in behind, and Isu now down the inside line to in towards Tamburello. Can he get the move done? It's very similar to what we saw with Rudy and Black Box, in fact, trying to go for the move, and Boss Wanted is off the track on the right-hand side, pretty much where Perpetuum went, not Perpetuum went off, pretty much where it was Daniel and Stinson that went off on lap one. Tom Robbo and Jensen are side by side. Chalker's been overtaken by Fleddy. All of it's kicking off. Chalker's now under pressure from Luca. I can't keep up. Connor's on the back of Luca as well. And Luca's going to try and get the outside on in towards Piratella. Can he go around the outside? Yes, he can. Luca's soon he's into third. Chalker's lags back. Connor now on the inside line in towards Aqua Minerale. Absolutely sends it down the inside line. Lovely move. Lovely driving. Connor's soon he's into fourth.
And breathe. I think, like, jeez, there was so much action going on there. Throughout the field, we saw Isu trying to have a go with Funky Chicken. I think you're right about Rudy. That move was never really on Black Box. Chalkers has now picked himself a penalty up, and he's going to lose another place. This has been an absolute nightmare lap for the Alpha Tauri team, with Boss Wanted spinning as well. Down the inside goes Rudy. That time he was far enough alongside to make the corner, and he is now into fifth place. But Zoidima with a 1 second lead pretty much over Fleddy. DRS is activated. First time they'll be able to use it is next time around. Now we're going to see, now that the tyres have warmed up, we're going to see the advantage of those 8-lap pressure mediums. You'd expect them to be a good, well, possibly heading towards half a second quicker than Zoidima's tyres at this moment in time, as Tom Robbo and Isu are battling this time around. That's Isu who's lost a position, and now he's got, well, he still looks it all over the back of Tom Robbo here, bumping on the back of him, not able to make the move work into Villeneuve, and Jensen really close. So Tom Robbo and Jensen just working their way through the field, could still get themselves a decent result. I think it's going to be hard for them to get the victory unless they pull off a lot of moves, or unless we see another VSC or safety car.
Yeah, Jensen on the back of Isu, P9 for him. Tom Robbo gets the move done. Isu runs wide, coming through Piratella, and now Jensen on the back. Isu looks like he's lagging back slightly, and that's why we saw nearly Tom Robbo go into the back of him. Well, Isu actually going into the back of Tom Robbo, and actually Isu is nearly around, coming through Aqua Minerale, and now Jensen is alongside him, and Jensen to the outside line. Isu there on the inside line, absolutely sends the car in. Might be side pod damage actually for Jensen. They're both off wide. It's like Verstappen and Hamilton in Brazil, and Jensen and Isu, and now pretty much disposed of his Isu, and now Lynx is trying to go all the way around the outside of Ravazza. This will be bold and brave and brilliant if you can try and pull off the move. Fleddy catching the race lead, by the way, as well. Lynx is under pressure from nowhere in behind. Race lead is going to change because Zerda is now under pressure. Luca can get the move done down in towards Tamburello as well, but Fleddy leading the way. Zerda second, Luca in third. Connor's right on the back of this in fourth. So Mobile all of the back of Chalkers. Once again, we are absolutely flying in terms of this race. Lap 15 out of 32. Fleddy leads the way. Zerda second, Luca in third. Tom Robbo going side by side through the Villeneuve chicane. What a switchback that is from Tom Robbo. Lovely move by the Liverpudlian, and he is third, and he's into P7, and that is how you perform a move through the Villeneuve chicane, and this is how you perform a move down in towards Piratella. Connor through on Luca, down the inside line, gets the move done, he's into third, and breathe.
So much action going on here, James. It's absolutely fantastic. We thought Imola might not be the best circuit for racing on Formula 1 games. This is brilliant action here. Connor now on those soft tyres. He's got to get past Zoidema. He's got to get past Fleddy. And he's just got to drive 18 qualifying laps in that Ferrari. Maranello not too far away from Imola, of course. This is more of a home circuit for the Scuderia than Monza is. This track a lot closer to their factory, and it's pretty close for Alfa Tauri as well. But Connor, he's got to try and get some moves. I was just trying to look on Jensen's car earlier on. I did see like a slit on his side pod, and unfortunately I didn't get a view of the other side of the car to work out whether that was aerodynamic reasons or that was damage. But here you can see Zoidema, he's going to lose 2 places as Connor and Luca come through, so he is down into 4th position. Tom Robbo now on the back of Funky Chicken. Jensen has got ahead of Chalkers. He has lost a bit of time to Tom Robbo, but not too much as Lynx gets ahead of Chalkers. He's really struggling on those hard tyres. Again, just reiterating why Tom Robbo and Jensen did that double pit stop strategy to get rid of them. Yes, it lost them track position, but they're now ahead of someone who gained a lot of places in that period. With the way they're driving, they have got slightly fresher tyres than those ahead of them. 1 lap fresher than Rudy, Luca and Fleddy, and we know Connor almost certainly will have to come into the pits. It's going to be a fascinating end towards this race. Not seen as many penalties as for sprint as well.
Yeah, which is really good, I think, and everyone has obviously calmed down from the sprint race in terms of the driving standards, and it's absolutely brilliant racing. We saw Lynx, by the way, get the move done through the outside of Tamburello on the exit, got the move done there, his job done. Rudy is trying to go on the outside line in towards Ravata, doesn't get the move done there, and Fleddy has actually caught the curb coming through Ravata, and Connor now on the back. This might be the easiest overtake you will see all night. The set of mediums against the set of softs, and as the set of softs that comes into play, down the inside line, in towards turn 1, gets the job done, and now Connor in towards Tamburello, gets the job done, he's through and he's into the lead of the race, and now we can act on that as Fleddy makes a slight mistake in behind as well. 6/10 of a second now needed the gap. Connor leading the way, Fleddy in second, Luca in third, myself and Luca Etheridge, of course, taking you through the action as always on a Sunday night. And what a Sunday night it is, of course. It's my birthday, of course, and Connor leading the way. Fleddy in second, Luca in third. They're delivering for me. This is good.
This has been brilliant, and for Connor as well. He's just now got to try and escape. Remember, we're thinking about 27, 28 seconds for a pit stop. That'd put him last but 1 at this moment in time. So he's going to have a lot of overtaking to do, or he's got to hope for some sort of safety car, some sort of shenanigans, because a safety car in the next couple of laps could see the entire field dive into the pits and put on a set of soft tyres.
No, we're into the back of Chalkers, I think, there, and nearly came away with that with front wing damage. I'm not sure if he's actually picked that up. I can't actually see because of the TAS system. The TAS system is broke, but I would imagine there is maybe some sort of end plate damage on that car. Isu was trying to go side by side with them, and we know when Isu goes side by side with the driver, it doesn't really end well. Noah, luckily, gets the car just in front. Isu nearly in the rear end of it. Connor 1.5 seconds clear, by the way, out in front, which is unbelievable in terms of a pace. Noah dips 1 wheel into the gravel. He's into the pit lane, and Isu now is through comfortably, and he's into 11th position, closing down Chalkers all the way. Noah retires in the pit lane. A disappointing race, I think, from the Aston Martin's perspective. Isu on the back of Chalkers. Doesn't get the move done though. Funky Chicken is on the back of Jensen as well. And to be honest, Funky Chicken on that more warmer set of that medium compounded tyres, he's on the back of Jensen. Zerman is obviously dropping down the field. Funky Chicken's looking quite good, possibly, if some of the guys obviously wear out their tyres more excessively than what he's doing at the minute.
Yeah, both Alpines losing a place on that lap. Zoidema to Tom Robbo and Funky Chicken to Jensen. But yeah, they say at the moment, obviously, as soon as Jensen gets ahead of Zoidema, and he will do, he's really struggling on those older medium tyres. I think we could see him coming maybe for a set of softs at the end of this race, or he is going to try and stretch those mediums, which would be impressive from a tyre life point of view, even more so from a pace point of view. It's going to make sense for the Alpine team to pull off a swap here and for Funky Chicken to get ahead of Zoidema, because they're still in position, and you can see how much time Jensen's losing. He almost closed up back within a second of Tom Robbo. He's now 2 seconds behind. He's going to easily get this move done well before we get to Tamburello here. Pretty much, well, as soon as they come across the finish line, he's going to get that move done. And that is Jensen up into 6th place. You can see the rest of the field coming through up ahead. Funky Chicken, if I was him, I'd be on the radio now saying, right, come on Zoidema, you're on the worst tyres, let me through. and I can still get a really decent result for Alpine. And there we go, Zoidema sensible, pulling over to the left-hand side, so that is Funky Chicken up into 7th place. As Fleddy, I think, has made a mistake coming through Villeneuve. He's been over the gravel, judging by the state of his tyres. Luca goes through, Rudy goes through, as does Tom Bobo.
Yeah, Fleddy losing 3 positions, and actually he looks a little bit laggy in terms of his setup, and now comes up the hill behind Tom Robbo, in there in 5th position. Jensen there in 6th, and Funky Chicken, Chandler's in there, funkychicken.com, he's into 7th position. I'm sorry, I really had to get that one out. Connor leads the way, 2.7 seconds over the gap. Soft compound tyres are so quick on this track, and the Imola circuit, normally mediums is better. Isu was round coming through Variante out of just before Variante out at Aqua Milarale. So Isu is now around in P12. Not sure if that'll deploy any sort of VSC or safety car. I think it is still green flag racing. Connor leading the way though. 20 laps out of 32 now complete. Is there a chance that Connor could get to the end on this compounded tyre? 12 laps to go, 21 laps on a set of softs. You might be thinking I'm absolutely mad, but the mediums normally go 20 laps around here. Connor's tyre wear is normally quite good. Can he get to the end with an extensive margin of what I think possibly could be around 10, 12 seconds?
No chance. I cannot see him getting those soft tyres towards the end of the race in any decent condition.
Oh, he's
Connor's left the session. Hopefully he's got a spare invite. He might be able to get back in pretty quickly, but that's his chances pretty much ruined, because you can see the gap just, well, gained a tiny bit there actually. I think that was just before he disconnected. That might mess up the timings at the end of the race as well, but an absolute disaster for Connor. He's just ghosting. Hopefully he can get in before the pit lane, because we might see his AI car decide, no, I can't get towards the end. I do need to come in for a set of tyres.
He will need to come in for a set of tyres, and now his AI car is still out in front. Luckily for him, if he rejoins the session now, he is going to be in the lead of the race still, but I think Luca is going to probably try and close him down. Rudy is in behind in this as well. Jensen is right on the back of Fleddy, and Fleddy really struggling in terms of his tyres. Rudy's in a good slot in 3rd position at the minute. Luca could actually take this race now. As a result, Jensen, however, on the back of Fleddy, I'm going to get a sense of deja vu, I think, coming down the straight here. Jensen on the inside line, down in towards someone. He's derating down the straight. Rudy is on the back of Luca, and it's nearly 3 wide, and Tom Roberts got nowhere to go. On the back, nearly boxing on the outside line. Jensen, by the way, is through on Fleddy, gets through John. Connor has rejoined the session. He's got another 30 seconds to wait, I think, until he takes control of the car, and it's going to be too late because he could be down in 6th position. Yeah, it could be indeed, and I think with all this traffic, he might have to wait until everyone else has overtaken. An absolutely nightmare for him. Thank you to Joe Corby for the €1.99 super chat. Much appreciated, sir. As you can see here, Connor's he's going to lose all sorts of time in all of this. He's not going to be able to take over, I think, until every single one of these cars has got ahead of him, and he's going to have used up the best of the soft tyres. His race it was brave to go for a set of the soft tyres. It's now really costed him, as there you go, he does rejoin the session. The timing glitches. The best of those soft tyres is gone. He shot through the field early on. Don't think he's going to be able to do it now, and he might start coming under pressure from some of those cars behind. But it is Rudy in the lead of this race. Luca behind has a penalty. Tom Robbo, he's up into 3rd. Jensen in 4th place, and these drop right to the back of the field under the safety car. They could still get this win with 11 laps remaining. The code and Tom Robbo and Jensen, there was a 1-2 nearly in the sprint race, of course. Tom Robbo's on the back of Luke. He's going to try and challenge for the lead race. Are we going to get 3 wide down towards Tamburello? We are. Tom Robbo's going to go on the outside line of Luca. This will be bold and brave and brilliant if he can try and get the move done. He doesn't. Switch back though out of the Tamburello chicane is brilliant. Oh, and he actually loses the car. He's in the wall. Tom Robbo is out of the race in the wall. Commentators cursed by Luke Etheridge there. And Tom Robbo now out of the race. Safety car's got to be deployed for surely for that, as he's off track actually. But where he actually crashed was again off track, so it might be the case where there's no safety car. However, we had a full wide collision in the sprint race and didn't get a safety car either, and we're not going to get one here because the car has been recovered in very quick time, even quicker than what we do in real life normally. Tom Robbo out the race, so unfortunate for him. Bad luck strikes twice. They're just clipping that inside curve ever so slightly. I thought he'd got a brilliant run to get that cutback that we saw him do at Villeneuve earlier on the race. I thought he'd done it into Tamburello that time, but just lost the car ever so slightly. Tried to correct, and then almost like a high side in motorbikes, it slung him the other way, and he retired, unfortunately, from the race. Absolutely gutting for him, absolutely gutting for his championship chances, but Jensen,
It's all just starting to come together all of a sudden. He's in 3rd place now. I think we can safely say he didn't get any side pod damage with Isu, and if it did, it's so minuscule that it hasn't affected him, as now comes Rudy. Down the inside of Luca, into Tamburello. He takes the lead of this race. Will we see any team orders between the McLaren if it gets to that? I do think it is a bit early on in the season for that to be happening, and Connor, he's still hanging on to these drivers on that set of their soft tyres, but he's not getting ahead of them anymore. Can he stretch out another 10 laps? Because pitting now puts him, well, down into 12th place.
It does, and I think Connor has got to make a decision probably in this lap around, to be honest, if he's going to try and commit towards the end of the race. If it wasn't for that disconnection, I still think he would have won this race. I still think the time from a set of softs degrading to a set of mediums is so high around this track, Connor would have been comfortably in the lead of the race, even if his tyres actually punctured towards the end. But we will never know what would happen, unless, of course, there is a safety car and these guys crash in front of him. But Rudy leads the way. Luca in second. Jensen on the back. Is he going to try and get the move down towards Ravazza? I don't think he is. The McLaren's currently first and second, and actually I think Luca nearly went into the back of Rudy there, puts him offline now on the exit through Ravazza, and now Luca all of a sudden gets, well, Rudy I should say, gets 6/10, and actually Luca's into the pit lane. So Luca is into the pit lane. Not sure if there's a bit of contact there with Jensen. Jensen now is absolutely hunting down Rudy with the DRS enabled, down the inside and towards Tamburello, gets the job done, into the lead of the race he goes, and Jensen, from spinning out and out of contention in the sprint qualifying, Jensen now leads this race unbelievably. The safety car has helped him out, absolutely massively, and he could be on for his 3rd win of the season.
Yeah, and with his main 2 rivals at the moment, one of them scoring no points, one of them in 4th place, but with soft tyres, which are not going to be much use apart from for the bumps in a playground later on in this race, because they are going to be absolutely battered at the end. 21 laps on a set of the soft tyres is what he's trying to do. Again, I still can't see him getting these tyres to the end of the race, and I think he might have to come into the pits, but he's going to attempt it. And you said he's light on tyres. He could be in that situation where you're relying on a bit of luck with the puncture situation. Anything over 75% can get you a puncture, but I've seen drivers get into the high 90s and not get one. You're in the hands of the gods as soon as that starts to happen. I think there was front wing damage there. Luca just tapped the back of Rudy, coming definitely into Ravazza, and I think he might have done it on the run out of Aqua Minerale as well, so that is why he came into the pits. He's down in 12th place, might get himself a fastest lap point. He has just got himself a 3-second time penalty. Here comes Rudy on the back of Jensen. Is he going to chuck a late one down the inside of his teammate? No, he is not, and this is going to be frustrating. Fleddy, Connor, Funky Chicken, and Lynx as well. We've not really spoken too much about Lynx, but he's hanging on the back of these guys as well, and he's currently on for 5th place.
Boss Wanted is into the pit lane now as well. He was further down the field. Not sure if he's going to retire in the pit lane, but he is in for a set of soft compound tyres. So obviously realised that Luca has came in, possibly to try and get that fastest lap attempt, fastest lap point. It's out, and Connor is out the race. Connor is out of the race, coming out of Tulsa. That can deploy safety car, and it is a safety car. And that is perfect for Luca, perfect for Boss Wanted. They're both on a set of soft compound tyres. Race completely opens up. War of attrition begins again. Jensen leads the way. Rudy in second, Fleddy in third. We're under the safety car. Goodness me, what can happen in the next 7 or so laps?
Oh, Boss Wanted, he's going to be so ruined just not staying out one extra lap because he'd have been able to pit under the safety car, of course. Yes, some of the others are going to pit, but he's so far behind the rest of the field, he's not going to gain anything from that. Bunty comes into the pits. He's on a set of soft tyres. This closes everyone up, and if you didn't have those with penalties are going to be ruining their luck right now because they're going to see the whole field closed up. But everyone was on the same lap, so that's not going to cause any issues. And Rudy, he's going to get absolutely murdered by the double stack in this situation. Fleddy will jump in. Funky Chicken will, well, Lynx won't because he's going to get caught in the double stack. So it's not as bad as it potentially could have been. And thankfully, Fleddy is able to get ahead of, well, get past the car of Rudy. So it is Jensen leading this race. Fleddy in second. Funky Chicken, earlier on when you said it, I wasn't quite expecting him to get as good a result of this. He's in third place, and Fleddy has a penalty, so it could be a possible second place, and who knows what could happen in the final 7 laps. Again, this circuit punishes mistakes.
It does punish mistakes, and when it punishes mistakes, you normally end up out of the race like we've seen with 7 of our drivers now out on track. Jensen is out on top. Fleddy in second, Funky Chicken in third. Luca, by the way, was side by side nearly with Zerdimer coming out of the pit lane. And Luca there in P7. He is now behind Zerdimer. So, obviously, unfortunate for both of them. They pitted in a lap too late. But the Chicken is in third, and he's going to try and fry his way up the field. Yeah, that doesn't really work, does it? Jensen out on top, Freddy in second, Funky Chicken in third, Rudy in fourth. Yeah, you can probably sack me now if I've got to be honest. Lynx is in fifth. Zerdimer in sixth, Lucas 7, Chalkers in eighth. He's driven actually quite an underdog performance so far, Chalkers there in eighth. Doing a good job actually on his debut. Blackbox in 9th, Boss 1 to 10th, Isu in 11th, Bunty in 12th. He's still going right out on track after a promising sprint qualifying session, of course, qualifying within the top 10. Bunty there down in 12th position. And of course, all of these guys will pick up points at the end of the race, and they'll pick up full points as well, as opposed to the sprint race.
Yeah, they will. And James, the Chicken is trying to hatch a plan. Was right in front of you.
That's terrible.
It's better than whatever frying pun you came up with. Yeah, see what Funky Chicken can do in this situation. I'm not sure he's got the pace of Jensen, to be honest. I think Jensen could be in a brilliant position here now. It just depends on the restarts, because we saw earlier on different drivers getting slightly better ones. Zoidamer's restart was absolutely fantastic. Tom Robbo's earlier on was pretty good. So as long as you don't leave it until right at the end, and with the finish line being quite early on the straight, drivers might be tempted to leave it really late, but we've seen drivers do it through with Atsa, and it seems to be working okay at this moment in time. Fleddy with that 3-second time penalty. Luca has 9, Chalkers has 6. It's 5 for Isu, 6 for Bunty, and 3 for Boss Wanted. So obviously Fleddy's penalty now is going to promote all the cars behind him that are clear on penalties, apart from maybe Black Box, up ahead of him by the end of the race. So he's going to want to stay as high up the field as possible, but chances of getting a podium in the sprint and this race as well. And it's complete reversal of fortune, because we've got the top 2 from the sprint race are out of the feature.
They are indeed. Isu, by the way, back into the pit lane. He's under set of Commentators and has served up his 5-second penalty, which is crucial for him because he's now only on as he comes out the pit lane, but he's on no penalties at all. So Isu on no penalties. I mean, in the sprint race, he picked up 21 seconds worth of penalties. It just comes to show how much you can learn within the space of about half an hour or so in terms of the racing out on track here in Imola. Isu was driven cleanly so far. Well, could you say he's driven cleanly this race? Probably not, but Isu is now on no penalties as per the game. 5-second penalty served up. He's going to be joining on the back of the safety car queue, and I'd imagine the safety car is going to be coming in this lap as well. Jensen leading the way, Fleddy in second, Funky Chicken in third, Rudy in fourth, Lynx is in 5th position. I honestly think Zerdimer's got a chance of a big shot of a podium. He was there in 6th. We've seen him with the pace so far in the Alpine, but he's got to try and get through a wall of cars that's in front of him. Jensen, though, now the virtual Burmalander. He's the virtual safety car. And Fleddy in behind has got to try and stick to his front wing to try and minimise any sort of gap that Jensen is going to have running down in towards Ravazza.
Yeah, he just saw Zoidamer there as he was coming through very anti-alta. He was absolutely flowing the throttle in second gear, trying to burn off that extra fuel. There is no rich mix on this game. You can't burn off fuel by that, and they're all going to have plenty of spare now that we have had 3 laps under the safety car. So when is Jensen going to go? He is going quite late compared to all of the others. And there we go, absolutely catches Fleddy out. A textbook restart, and Rudy's almost alongside Funky Chicken here. This is going to be a straight drag race between these 2. It might be a straight drag race between 3 cars here, because Lynx is trying to get involved as well. Has to give up in the end. Rudy's going to try and go all the way around the outside at Tamburello and pulls it off. What a move by Rudy in the McLaren. Absolutely fantastic restart by the Papaya team. Jensen getting the lead in this race. Rudy in third, as there's been some incident in the background. That is Lynx who's around all the way down to the back, and I think Luca's got ahead of Zoidamer as well, and now Chalkers tries to send it on the Alpine.
And Isu's through on Bunty as well. He's up into P10. Lynx now down into P12. Try to move on Funky Chicken. Failed down the inside line. He got spun by the curb more than anything else. Blackbox now through on Chalkers. They're side by side and down in towards Aqua Minerale. This is not going to end well for one of them. Down and through Aqua Minerale. It's actually ended well for both of them. They've somehow came out of that relatively unscathed. Boss Wanted in the back is now trying to hunt down Chalkers in front. And Chalkers there in P8. The right team, the chalk might be on the right foot, quite literally, in terms of Chalkers' race at this moment in time. P8 and P9. That was slightly better than the Chicken pun, but still. Jensen leading the way, Fleddy in second, Rudy in third. Jensen's already pulled away 1.1 seconds. He was unfortunate in the sprint race. Obviously got caught out with a very late spin with the penultimate lap of the race. But Jensen doing a phenomenal job. It's 3 wide in the background, I think, however. Boss wanted Chalkers and Isu. Isu trying to tuck into the slipstream on both of them. And Chalkers now has got to give room to Isu. And Isu makes contact with Chalkers down in towards turn 1. And Isu sends it on Chalkers again in towards turn 1. And then through Tamburello 2 and 3. And Chalkers has to back out. And honestly, that was a little bit sketchy between them both. Isu is through and he's into P9 from P12. Linktoft spun around. Chalkers now down into P10. I think Chalkers probably did the right thing there. Back out before you make contact.
Yeah, I think what started all that, he was a bit slow on the throttle out of Vivatsa, and Boss wanted his teammate, gave him a little bump. That slowed the pair of them down, and that allowed Isu to almost get alongside, and we almost had a, similar to what we saw again earlier this year with Bottas and Russell, and I think there'd have been a few middle fingers and a few choice, very posh English swearing. I will say as well, Jensen picks up a penalty, skips the final part of Variante Alta, and he's 2.5 seconds ahead of his teammate at this moment in time. Jensen, all of a sudden, has to get his skates on in the final 3 and a bit laps if he wants to make it 3 wins out of 3.
He'll do it easily. I think Jensen's got the pace. Rudy is in behind Fleddy. Fleddy has got the pace on him. So Fleddy is not going to make this easy for Rudy to try and get past down in towards turn 1. It's 2.6, 2.7 seconds, hovering around that at the minute. And Jensen, he's got clear air. Rudy hasn't. He's in dirt yet. And Rudy's going to be the one that's going to be held up by Fleddy. So I think Jensen is comfortably now probably going to win this race. I would think with about 2 seconds in hand on Rudy. And Rudy, obviously, he has got to be careful. Doesn't want to overrun the track limits to pick up a penalty himself. But now, look at the gap. Bordering 3 seconds. And Jensen leading the way. Fleddy in second, Rudy in third. It is now on 3 seconds the gap. And Jensen doing a phenomenal job. I think, honestly, you were getting quite excited there, Luke. I wasn't. I'm keeping calm. Jensen's going to win this easily.
Let's not forget, though, Rudy's going to get DRS off Fleddy here. And that can get you about half a second on this circuit. It is exceptionally powerful, and he might be far enough behind that he's not actually going to get the move done. So a lot of this race could actually depend on what the pace of Fleddy is, rather than Rudy, as they both have a bit of a bad run there through Variante Alta. Isu now picks up, after we said he was keeping it nice and clean, his first 3-second time penalty of this race, but we'll just watch this gap come down. It's 3.4 seconds now. I reckon by the time we get through Tamburello, it could be less than 3 seconds. Once again, using the last bit of ERS, using the DRS, and now you see it starting to come down ever so slightly. So Jensen, he should be fine, but I reckon he's only going to get it by, about half a second, 1 second at the checkered flag at the end of all this. Fleddy, though, he's going to lose out to Rudy and Funky Chicken as things stand at the moment, as Boss Wanted and Isu swap around, and that is Boss Wanted up into 8th place, having, I think it's safe to say, his best race of the season so far.
Yeah, Lynx is through into P11 as well. Got Bunty down in towards Tamburello, so he's into P11 as well. Jensen leading the way, 2.6 seconds over Fleddy. Fleddy now is only 6 cents ahead of Rudy, but Rudy's only got 1 more lap to try and make a move done, and that is only down the start-finish straight where he can try and make that move done. It's 3.4 seconds out of the gap. There's more corners on this track than there is straight, and this is why Jensen, I think, is so comfortable for this race win. Look at the gap he'll pull out coming out of Variante Alta. He's quicker at this part of the track than Rudy, and look at the gap now. 3.7 seconds is the gap. Rudy was about 4/10 off that last lap around coming down in towards Ravata. I think it's comfortably in the realms of possibility that Jensen is probably going to win this race. On to the final lap we go. Fleddy leading the way. Jensen leading the way, 2.8 seconds. Rudy's not 4 seconds off the back of Jensen. It is now favouring Jensen, and Jensen looks like he's going to take the win as Isu is side by side with Boss Wanted. Forces him nearly side by side, wheel banging as they go along, and it's still side by side between the AlphaTauri and indeed the Red Bull. And there's a move further down the field as well, further up the field. Black Box is through on Zerdamer, and Isu's going to try and outsmart Boss Wanted coming out of Tamburello, and Boss Wanted nearly chops up his front wing there. And Isu has to stay in behind, and Boss Wanted in P8. Jensen, however, as much as you would like to say he was in 3 seconds, he's not going to be. Jensen is going to win this race easily.
Well, sorry for trying to get the audience excited, James, but, I mean, not that I've needed to with this race, but yeah, Rudy, he had a bit of a bad lap and nearly dropped outside of DRS range of Fleddy. In fact, just stayed within it, and I think that's a good job for him, because that means the McLaren 1-2 is still on here. But Jensen, apart from that penalty, has driven a pretty faultless feature race here, and it looks like he's going to make it 3 wins out of 3.
Yeah, Jensen on the run down and towards Ravazza, the final couple of corners await him. As long as he doesn't pick up another 3-second penalty, Jensen is going to take the win here. Coming round the Ravazza for the final time. It's a third win in a row in the 50% races, that is for Jensen. Jensen runs the line to win in Imola. Fleddy across the line to finish in second. Rudy is going to finish third, but he comes across the line, obviously, with penalties to finish second. Funky Chicken, the Northerner, has finished in third. Fleddy in fourth. Zerdimer in fifth in the end. Black Box 6 plus 1 to 7. Isu, Luca, Lynx, Chalkers, and Bunty will be your top 12 in terms of the finishers. Fantastic win from Jensen. Controlled that restart very, very nicely indeed. Fantastic win from him. Probably deserves a drive of the day with that performance. Funky Chicken is awarded, however, drive of the day by the in-game fans.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Funky Chicken did a fantastic job, and those, well, apart from Jensen, the top, second and third place, kept it clean, gained positions in all that, and it is a McLaren 1-2. That is going to help them no end as well in the Constructors' Championship, and with Jensen's two main rivals in the drivers failing to finish the main race, I believe he's now got more than a race win lead in the championship after only 3 rounds.
Which is unbelievable, and it's beginning to look a bit like Ferrand out on track. I was going a little bit down the Christmas route there, to be honest, but Ferrand obviously dominating F2, took the win here in Imola, and he's now more than a race win ahead as well. So I think we're seeing the same theme. Ferrand and Jensen dominating in their respective divisions. Certainly Jensen here in F1. From 8th position on the grid, Jensen wins the feature race and picks up fastest lap of the race as well. So an extra point in that. Fantastic win from Jensen. Rudy in second, it's a McLaren 1-2. Kind of throwing it back to the old days with a 1-2 for McLaren. Funky Chicken in third, drove a solid race. 19th on the grid up to third. With all the luck that was in that, he drove a solid race in third. Fleddy in fourth, Zerdimer fifth, Black Box in sixth, Boss wanted seventh, Isu in eighth, Luke in ninth, Lynx ran off the top 10, Chalkers in 11th, Bunty in 12th. They all finished underneath everyone called. The ones that didn't, Connor causing the last safety car, of course, Tom Robbo, Noah, Perpetuum, Nuff, Daniel and Stinson all out of the race at various stages. What an action-packed race to finish off what has been a great birthday, I've got to say. Jensen, though, on top, Rudy second, Funky Chicken in third. Shall we get the top 3 in?
Yeah, we shall indeed. Let's head in and get these interviews underway. A few of them have come in very early on, which always makes our job a tiny bit easier. But yeah, let's start dragging in the top few in this race. We have currently got Jensen and Funky Chicken. So James, I will hand over to you for the interviews.
Yeah, let's take the interviews then. It is, of course, Jensen who wraps up the race win once again. Talk us through, however, the first sprint qualifying, because you were looking really good for a second place finish, and then obviously you made a mistake. What happened?
I tried going for a move on Tom in the final lap, and we were going side by side through turn 3, but it's one of those corners, to be honest. And yeah, I couldn't get the angle right coming out, and yeah, in the end collided with him. And yeah, probably my mistake, to be honest, because yeah, it's just not one of those corners where you could really try side by side, but we tried it, and yeah, in the end lost minimum 8 points, which is a bit unfortunate. I think I took the fastest lap in that. I don't know, it was like a glitch fastest lap, but I put like a 14.9 in. But I finished outside the top 7. Does it still count?
I think it does. I think it counts for the full grid, if I'm not mistaken, here in TTML. So I think you do get the fastest point for that. And I said in commentary about that incident, actually, it was a bit like Verstappen and Hamilton in the wet, where one of them didn't back out of the other. And I think it's exactly what happened between you both.
It's a bit like Hamilton Verstappen. It's like the sprint race, isn't it? In real life, they always come together. And I think Tom's going to be my main rival this season, probably as well as Connor. But yeah, in the end, it happened. I mean, I was really annoyed with it at first, but I looked back at it before the race, and yeah, I second thoughted that. But yeah, in the race though, of course, the win and the fastest lap is pretty cool. And I think I was debating possibly getting that penalty removed because I got pushed off by Isu in the chicane, and yeah, that gave me a warning because I couldn't go anywhere else. He was just sending it absolutely everywhere. I don't know what he was trying to do, but yeah, the pace was good in the end. Unfortunate for Tom, because we were both chopping through the field, and then yeah, he lost it trying to get the switch back, and as well as Connor as well. But I mean, again, my rivals, I guess. But yeah, in the end, it's like.
Yeah, I think we said at the end of that race that you've got probably more of a race win ahead of the rest of the field, which is like Ference in F2. He's more than a race win ahead of the rest of the field as well. And it was absolutely fantastic to see, of course, your performance in the main feature race. Talk us through it, because honestly, you were right down near the back of the field, I think, at one point.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, as well as the sprint race, the feature race, I got caught up on lap 1 quite a bit. I think in the sprint race, I got like sandwiched in a freeway thing, which like had a massive crash, and then I got like tagged by someone. I almost actually crashed out of the sprint race, so luckily managed to keep it going. But yeah, feature race, yeah, just eating through the fields. Of course, the safety car, in my opinion, didn't really help, because me and Tom were in a fantastic place at that point, and we went hards, then back to mediums to get the mandatory stop, and yeah, charged back through. And of course, the late safety car came out as I got past my teammates, so that made it even better for me. And yeah, in the end, I just absolutely floored it on the final 5 laps. And of course, I picked up a penalty. I don't know if that's going to be removed or not. I mean, with TAS, I think you'll be able to see how many warnings I have, so I might be able to, in case someone gets a penalty removed, or if I get a penalty, I don't know if I would do. But yeah, in the end, it's a win, so happy.
It is a win, and you should be very happy, as I say. I think in terms of the task system, by the way, it broke after the sprint race, so I don't think you'll be able to check in terms of any warning. That's just a complete flaw, I think, in terms of what we did with the task system, and of course with the new sprint format that we had. But Luke, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
No, I think you've pretty much covered everything there, so congratulations, Jensen. No questions from myself.
Of course, next week in Hungary, Jensen, how do you think you're going to get on? Are you going to make it 4 wins in a row?
Oh, I'd love to. Hungary is one of those tracks I tend to struggle a bit, to be honest. But I mean, I've been doing a lot of the esports event, or attempting it. I think I've given up on it really now. It's a bit. I'm not the greatest around Hungary, so yeah. I mean, I'll try and do my best. Just get just damage limitation for those kind of tracks. So yeah.
Yeah, of course, Hungary is known as Monaco without the barriers. So obviously there's going to be quite a few incidents, I would think. Turn 4, I think it is, or turn 5 through the right-hander. That is certainly going to catch people out. But hopefully it won't catch you out, Jensen. Go and enjoy your evening.
Yeah, and cheers for the comms.
Very welcome indeed. And Funky Chicken was here. He has decided to, I think, go to KFC and maybe put in an order of Southern Fried Chicken.
Yeah, Funky Chicken is having a few connection issues, unfortunately, so he will not be able to join. And it doesn't look like Rudy's going to be joining us as well. But Jensen, I think it just seemed like more relieved that I think it was over. Obviously, quite a bit longer than what they used to in league racing. I don't think after the sprint race he'd have expected to be going away with such a big championship lead. I believe it, again, not quite sure on the maths, but I think it is well over. I think it is now well over a race win. It might even be Zoidema, who's up in second place in the championship after all what happened.
Yeah, well, Zoidema drove obviously solid races in both the sprint race and indeed the feature races. We're calling it the 50% race. Fantastic driving, of course, by all of our guys out on track. And that, of course, will bring an end to the TTML F1 stream. And if you, of course, have liked the stream, you can do what Callboy did earlier on and donate, of course, to the channel. Every proceed, of course, from that donation goes straight back into the channel, goes straight back into TTML and its other leagues, of course, moving forward on the channel. Luke, however, I'm going to come across to you. Final thoughts, driver of the day.
I think driver of the day, I'm going to, just for the way he got his way through the field in that main race, I am going to have to go for Jensen. Kept it cool when so many others around him. Tom Robbo, Noof obviously had the pedal issues, Perpetuum was looking good, Connor had a spin and connection issues. Who knows what he could have done if it wasn't for that. But Jensen, he's just coming in through the field absolutely brilliantly, and a lesson maybe for any budding league racer. Just because things aren't going your way, stick at it, keep trying, and you never might know. Because I think after the sprint race, he wouldn't have expected to win. I think even after the safety car, when him and Tom Bobo were down in sort of 11th or 12th place, as I can exclusively reveal, things aren't just over yet. We have got someone else for the interviews.
We have indeed, and there's Rudy, of course, who finished in P2 in that main feature race. Of course, Rudy, talk us through your sprint race first, because it didn't all go according to plan.
Yeah, no, yeah, I am. Yeah, it didn't go to plan at all, because I had a pretty terrible start. And I got jumped by a few guys on softs, and then I got an illegal overtake, which meant I had to drop back like 5 positions. And yeah, I was just at the back of that sprint race, and in the end I got P17, so pretty terrible.
Yeah, P17 obviously translating into a P2 finish, which is unbelievable, of course, in the feature race. Talk us through, because I think, honestly, safety cars would have helped you out quite a lot in that race.
Yeah, definitely. It did help that at the first safety car, I started on softs because I was expecting a safety car, and then really early there was a safety car, and I went to the mediums, which meant that at the second safety car I could go to mediums again because I'd already gone from soft to medium, which meant I could go to the end, and then I got back into P8, which was perfect for me. And yeah, on the restart I did have a little incident with someone. Yeah, don't know what will come out of that. And the second safety car at the end of the race, it did help me a bit, but yeah, I was quite annoyed that Jensen just overtook me, because that meant I was getting held up in the pit, and I was thinking that a win could be possible there. But Jensen had insane pace, and I did have some help by some people helping me on the stream. So shout out to them. They were more like rooting for Funky Chicken than me, but yeah, still helped out a lot.
Terrible in terms of the support, I think, given there by our viewers on the stream. But obviously, fantastic race for you. P2 finish, and of course, you must be really happy with that, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's your first podium of the season as well.
Yes, yeah, it is. And in Portimao, I just missed out, I think, and last race I wasn't there. So I didn't expect it at the start of the race, especially being in P17. But really happy with the result.
Yeah, it's still stunning drives to get P2, especially around a classic track like Imola. It will not beat a better feeling than that. Luke, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
Yeah, like you said, you just missed out on the podium in Portugal. You did get one here in Imola at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. What's your aims for the rest of the season? Do you think you can put on a championship challenge, or are you just hoping maybe to win a couple of races?
I think a championship challenge is going to be really difficult, since Jensen is really far ahead already, and I don't think I have the consistency for now, especially against someone like Jensen, who's just consistent and really quick. But I'm hoping. I think I've got the pace to maybe snatch a win or two. So yeah, that's my aim. Just getting good results and just having some fun.
Well, it definitely looks like you had plenty of fun out there tonight. Congratulations on the podium. I'll hand you back to James.
Final question from me, Rudy. Hungary next week. How do you think you're going to get on?
I don't like the track at all. So I think it's going to be a difficult one. I also haven't done any of the esports events, so I hate the track, so I'm not expecting a lot, but we'll see. Maybe I'll get a shock result there. Who knows?
Everyone hates Hungary, though, to be honest. So I'm definitely in your camp in terms of being in the commentary box this time around and not being out there on track like I have done in the past. But go and enjoy your evening, Rudy.
Yeah, cheers.
Very welcome indeed. And I think that now officially marks the end of the stream here, of course, for TTML. A big thank you, of course, to Mr. Luke Etheridge for taking us through, of course, with the graphics and being my co-commentator. And indeed to Jensen and Rudy for joining us into the interviews room. And congratulations, of course, to our top three of course, being Jensen, Rudy, and Funky Chicken. Of course, we will be back next week. More action to come, of course. CWC is live tomorrow night. I saw Malcolm in the chat earlier on. He, of course, will be taking you through the F1 stream. Pepsi Freak, I think, is on F2, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And then we do it all over again. EML, by the way, yes, EML, the EML, is live on Wednesday, I should say, around the rescheduled French Grand Prix, which obviously happened because of the safety car glitch and everything that happened in that race. It is going to be rerun, and it's going to be Wednesday night, and it is going to be Graham Chappell and Storm taking you through the action, of course. And then we do it all over again, TTML F2 and F3 on Thursday, F4, F5 on Friday, and then F1 again on Sunday to take in the Hungaroring at Magna Nadadec.
Brilliantly put.
Brilliantly put. Yeah, that's the best pronunciation I think I've ever done, to be honest, of Magna Nadadec, but there we go. That is the end, though, of the stream. Big thank you to everyone that tuned in. And, of course, if you did like the stream, like, comment, subscribe. Take that notification bell, of course, if you're new. And for the third time this season, I've been James Head.
I've been Luke Etheridge.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, goodbye.